Alrighty, boys. What is good, ladies and gentlemen? We're back at it again. Another stream, another hopefully good time. Fluff, I just seen that you messaged me. I did not see that pop up at all. I see there's 3 messages waiting for me. Hopefully the world's not burning down. God, I hope not. Regardless, I'm also... Oh no, my Steam thing or my... No. How do I fix this? Oh. I don't have my normal... Oh, here we go. Hopefully nothing else is falling apart. Are we okay? No, of course that fucked up. Alright, give me a sec. Give me a hot minute. God damn it. God damn it. There we go. We're working. We're working again. Sorry. My bad. Fluff says, evening, Grin. What's good, Fluff? Fluff, I just seen Red's goddamn character in Saints Row. Well done. That looks amazing. Everything's working again. Good. We have everything here. Good. I was like, oh no. Also, ladies and gentlemen, today we made not today, it was a while ago. We made this build. Basically, Spore Warden Guide 2.0-ish type thing. If anyone asks me about it, I'll drop it for them if they want. I don't know if it's as much of a desired build. Again, I've started the process of looking at, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, how to make the best gameplay kind of possible in Wonderlands. Meaning, I'm going to take gear and just make it primordial. Like, a lot of you guys did a lot of cool things, and we're grinding a lot of amazing spells for our torrent builds. And I don't want to basically have them all go to waste. So I'm just going to take all of them and make them primordial, and then maybe throw in a couple ones, hopefully. I don't know how easy the modding of that is. I'll tell everyone hey, these items have just been literally scaled up to be primordial. Like, I still think it's fun to hunt for the best version of it. I am just completely opting out of the primordial hellish chase. Now, granted, I also think it's a little sus that some people's save files have the best gear ever. Like a ring that has every optimal thing there. Now, it's not that it's impossible, it's just to say, do you have a time turn? How are you able to get these drops? You know what I mean? So I feel like it's like a silent rule, but I don't like lying. And I think also sometimes not saying the truth feels like a lie to me. Also, I should have known that as soon as we start streaming, I start overheating, and now I'm gonna burn alive. My God. Oh, so, and also, guess who decided to use the back red drop and forgot, guess what shirt he was wearing? Isn't that great? Isn't that awesome? I figured out as soon as I went to the bathroom to do the stream, I was like, oh, right. What if it gets a little warm and what am I wearing underneath this hoodie? A big red shirt? Awesome. Great choice on backdrop. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just a chill time today. We're just going to sit back, have a fun time. We have nothing really to achieve, but we'll still be aiming to do something, I suppose. And I guess in that regard, it's to basically hone our gun build. So we're just going to be trying to get some cool guns, although I do think that's going to be me jumping into save file weirdness. Because, yeah, I just think, I don't know what gun is even optimal, or even somewhat good. I think there's probably a tier list of all the guns are not shit, including purples and whatnot, that some person has maybe made. I feel like it's a Reddit thing that has happened. So we're going to pursue that. But of course, we're going to use our best build that we've ever made, boom, to kind of be the template for us just pushing through chaos chambers and doing anything and everything. I was very, very tempted to do, by the way, shocker, I was blown out of the water by the previous Saints Row customize your character video, doing normal, when it comes to our stream consistency, etc. So yeah, I was like, oh, people actually watch that. Why? Also, okay. So I wanted to do it again today because I had the urge to not do everything but Tiny Tina's Wonderland. At least right now. Again, I think as soon as I start modding shit, I'm gonna be like, hey, and by modding, I literally just am saying, I'm still gonna hunt for gear. It's just that I'm gonna hope to get the best version of it, at least when it comes to primordial. That way we only need to acquire a good one. And also we only really need to acquire one of them. And honestly, a lot of people save, re-quit, enchantments and all that shit and just stop. It's just a non-optimal way of gamifying the system. Fuck it, just break it at this point. That's where I'm at. Also, what is good? Loop says, or Lop says, how many level 40 characters do you have? Grinning? Also, hello chat. What's good, Loop? Loop says, hope everyone is having at least a decent day. It's a solid thing to say. I'm having a pretty good day, actually. I got a lot done in terms of my book. Been grinding. I'm getting, it's more of a course than a book. I guess I should preface it by that, which is a different tone, but it's good. I'm doing good. How about you, Loop? Also, I'm gonna call you Loop, even though I don't know I think it's Lupo, but now I've said Loop and my brain says, it's Loop. It's Loop. Although Lupo also does sound like a charming name, but also I didn't say, what's good, Nier? Hi guys, how you doing? Also, what's good, Lone Syndicate? Good to have all of you. Thank you for stopping by. We're just gonna have a nice chill time today, boys. I was very tempted to play the Saints Row game, but we'll save that for Thursday. Thursday. And I'm hoping to wrap up Suckers for Love in the one stream on Tuesday. And then the next Tuesday, after this Tuesday, who's coming up, we are going to try that new fast-paced game, and that. Lone Syndicate says, what's up? Grub. What's good, Grub? I'm trying to think of what I could call you, and nothing comes to mind besides Lone Syndicate. Nier says that to chill out. Yes, I'm just gonna have a nice relaxing time. Or is that my title's fucked up? Is that what's happened? Oh no. Let me know if that's the case. Loop says Loop isn't not an OK pronunciation, you son of a just king on. Yes, it's my brain. Lupo. Oh, as far as your question, Lupo, how many level 40 characters do I have grinded? I grinded one, and that was it. Yeah, and then I just downloaded a save file because I don't know. I'm not really. I'm not sure how much more I could get out of grinding more of them. You know. At least to me, that's not, like, my whole thing is, like, making builds, and that's really satisfying and fun. God, what a hellish nightmare Wonderland is for my version of fun. But yeah, hopefully we get that new character, though, sooner rather than later, man. That's what I think everyone's waiting on. Everyone's just waiting on something. Like, I think that was the thing that with Borderlands 3 that was such a kind of a good baseline, is a lot of people didn't like the story in Borderlands 3, and a lot of people didn't like the kind of nerfing meta that was at one point in the game. I think Tiny Tina has not yet kind of bitten that bullet yet of being like, everything is getting nerfed and value is all over the place. But I think it's just a testament to how, in my opinion, horrible the Chaos rank is. Chaos rank to me is just making it, like, because that's what I mean. Like, Borderlands 3, we used to have, like, a neat future. Like, people got excited by, like, oh, you know, the gameplay's good. The gameplay's really fun. Like, it's new. You know, we've been playing with Borderlands 2 for such a long time. This gameplay vaulting, that's a really nice change of pace. But I do think the build creation and stuff like that, or just the Chaos rank, honestly. The Chaos rank, I think, is what's making everyone kind of like, it makes me not happy with the future of where this game goes. Like, say there is a DLC with tons of content. If every time I kill a boss and they drop like 16 legendaries and I have to literally like pick them all up, or look through which one is chaotic and non-chaotic, it just seems like, I'm not sure that's a fun bit of time that I want to spend doing that, you know? Fucking auto, yeah, no, it's all good, man. I can read between the lines. Just be patient with me, and I'll be patient as much as I absolutely need to be with you. I shouldn't say need to be. I'll just give you all of it. I'll just take all the time. It's fine. Nier says, I have started Destiny 2. Solid game. I think Destiny at this point is kind of like, well, it's kind of like, in my opinion, a little bit better in terms of the idea of Genshin. Like, if Genshin kept its content, you'd be like, holy shit, is this game ever like 50 games in one? What a deal, you know? But Destiny's one of those games which it still has the FOMO stuff, but I think like, at least it leaves, like, with every update, it leaves like trickles, like trickles of content to do. So it's something, even if it's like, there's not, like, you don't get any power level from getting it because you can just do strikes and get all the level gear equivalent and then progress. But still, there's something to, like, accumulate after a long time of not playing or having waited to get into the game, and it's going to be a good game for you to jump into. So have fun, Nier. Let me know how it is. What part you're at, because I got pretty deep within Destiny, but I'm not sure if you're coming back to it or you're a brand new player jumping into the fold. You got to let me know. Let me do roguelike is... Well, roguelike we were actually fine with the last time. We have 3 lives, but let's hope we don't die. Also, yeah, Fluff, how's DNF Duel doing? Or is it coming out this week, or is it already out? I thought it was already out. Oh, Richie, I deflected. I deflected. Can't touch this. Too fast. Good to have you, Richie. I hope your day's been lovely. Fluff says, just one more week to go through. Oh, so you're answering my question within the question I seen DNF2 brought up. So yeah, all right, man, you're gonna get side-blinded. We're gonna lose Fluff in a week. He's got 2 big-ass games. Well, DNF Duel is like a little, I feel like it's a little bit of a, like, it's almost like what I think Deathverse is gonna be to the Let It Die community, which is like a little, like a crumb, but a good crumb, maybe, you know? Like a snack, like a very small snack, and you're kind of like, well... all right, that's all right. And then you move on, you know, you play something else. Also, I'm hoping that's going to be Tower of Fantasy, man. I'm hoping that's going to be Tower of Fantasy for me. I was also debating doing that, streaming some Genshin today, but I don't know. I was also like, I need to go. I feel like I should have started grinding if I was going to grind when Lone Syndicate told me there was 3 days left before the event ended, or before the season moved on. I don't know if Lone Syndicate you ever replied in that way, which I'm sure you just didn't know, which is fine. But it's I didn't know if the Itto quest with the new like Dice Lady waifu is gone forever after this event is done, or if it is a part of an Archon storyline. I think it should be considered like a legendary companion quest or whatever it's called, so I think it should stay. But I don't know, because yeah, I feel like they'd want to incentivize her story, and yeah, I think that makes sense, maybe. Because I do want to experience that, and yeah, but you know, sometimes they're like, you know what, I don't want to get back into Genshin unless there's like Tower of Fantasy that's also like, hey, you could do both of these and they're not like the worst, you know. So I'm waiting for that, like that harmony that hopefully is gonna come from both those games existing. Granted, I think I will I'll try to back Tower of Fantasy way more. Granted, I think that's also stupid. Like, I think it's a good strategic plan right now to maybe invest in some Genshin content, like now, because everyone is starting to recede. I think the community is still like, hey, I kind of liked watching that. Like, if you could, why did everyone leave? Like, you know, I still enjoyed the harmony of these videos that gave me comfort, you know, even if they weren't the most, like, balls to the walls, exciting, kind of thing. Granted, I do think that was something that we've seen at the end of when I started to leave Genshin, as everyone's content like viewership was going down. With the exception of people who are actually like just kind of capitalized on gaining an audience and then, you know, doing other interesting things, which is nice. Fluff says, after a grueling series of bad matches last night, I managed to grind out the fade to get in Valorant. Yeah, you got your character that is the support that you most love, or the type of playstyle you most love. She's pretty fun, and now I just have I have Sky to complete the current available interrogators, or that one. Okay, that whatever. I'm assuming that's a type of insurgent in the thing in Valorant, which I am not privy to. So that's cool to see that you finally got your character. Yeah. Is Valorant doing a good job of post-launch content, or do they not need to because of just the nature of a multiplayer game and it being kind of solid enough and fresh enough to where you kind of just need to trickle out skins and maybe a couple of characters? Like, they're doing what Overwatch should have done. Like more like different characters introduced consistently. But also I think Overwatch did like kind of because like healers could literally be the thing that like shapes your gameplay. I could see Overwatch being like, fuck, it's a lot of balance, whereas in Valorant I don't know. I think that it's significantly more reserved when it comes to individual power. Like, it's more about team synergy and all that stuff, and your abilities are useful, but they're not like, I can win the entire, or I can stop this person from dying and just take 1,000 bullets like Mercy could, you know? So I feel like that's probably easier for balance's sake, maybe. Granted, I think it's also like a delicate balance, which is also different. Like yeah, like I think if headshots are super valuable, and it's weird about like their nerfing comes out of like AOE spread, right, and stuff like that, and recoil, which is odd. I feel like that would piss me off. I'd be like, why does this gun suck so much, and why is it so inconsistent? And it's like, well, it's because all there really is gunplay. Like, you can't really nuke somebody with a power, or at least if they do, it's a specific class and they lack every other utility aspect. Granted, I know nothing about Valorant, so some of you are probably like, Grin, you're an idiot, this is not true at all. And I'm like, alright, this is just my sense of seeing it through a mirror. Which is to say, it could be all fucked up, could be one of those, circus mirrors that make you look chunky, whatever it be. It is what it is. What is good, Sparks? Also, ladies and gentlemen, I am getting absolutely significantly better at making an absolute wonderful iced coffee. This is just like a mason jar holder thing. But yeah. Lone Syndicate says, how was your day, Grim? Hope it was productive as you wanted it to be, or hope you just had a relaxing, chill day. I did not have a relaxing, chill day, although I probably will regret it not having that on tomorrow. But I'm at hella ground within the book I'm reading. Yeah. Well, first of all, how about you, Lone Syndicate? Your life is far more interesting than mine. I'm out here just grinding. And by grinding, I don't mean that as like a pejorative, like, yay, we're doing good. It's like, I'm trying my best. I'm like, my version of grinding is like a person sweating profusely and just being like, I'm doing the best I got. Okay? And like on the verge of crying all the time, that's me. But what do you call it? In the book I'm reading, because I'm hopefully you're gonna reply, and yeah, we're gonna get into it hopefully. But in the book I'm reading right now, it's all about YouTube, and it's really interesting, and it has this formulaic way of thinking about things, which is basically the formula. It's called the YouTube formula. It's made by a guy who I watched for a long time coming, who was always about like analytical data and stuff like that. But he had a really cool way of like phrasing content creation and creation in general, and especially on YouTube and how YouTube like came into existence. It was really cool. Like again, he goes through like the history of YouTube and basically being, well, first of all, the whole book, oh shit, oh right, I have roguelike on, god damn it. But the whole history of YouTube, YouTube started off as a dating site and then quickly realized that its user data was not coming to YouTube as a dating site. It wasn't even called YouTube at the time. And the funny thing is, actually, YouTube was doing weird things. Like YouTube actually tried to pay women $20 a video for uploading it to their video dating site because they seen that there was a technological advancement within YouTube, or within video creation. So they were like, oh, we can use this and make a site, and we could do that through the niche of creating a dating site. But they found that YouTube was getting the most viewership and the most progression by people just like uploading videos with their families and like goofy cat videos. And so instead of meticulously holding out for this weird dating idea or dating site idea, they pivoted and changed. And this is kind of the nature that YouTube is supposedly being built off of, is this idea of try something, and this is what the YouTube formula is, which I like a lot. We're gonna die. Panic. But the YouTube formula is basically try, fail, analyze, adjust, which is a really cool methodical way of doing it, I think, which is fun to me at least. I thought it was interesting. But that's what I'm currently learning. And again, the one chapter I'm on right now is kind of talking about how important your analytics are and how important is understanding, like, just like not watching YouTube as an entertainment source. Like, you can do that, that's great, but to also, like, if you're gonna make content, you need to step back and look at YouTube as an ecosystem and what the ecosystem is currently feeding on and why it's doing that. And then ultimately finding out why it's being done and then doing it in your way that's not just copying or something like that, but finding a way to harmonize it in your own ideas and your own sense kind of thing, which I'm sure everyone's heard about, but it's interesting to hear. It's always funny because you hear things and you'll have these thoughts many times, but it's only when somebody kind of like lays it out in a specific formulaic way, or they just give you like 20 stories of why this is not bullshit, that your brain finally says, okay. I think that maybe is a testament to learning when you get older, because you have such rigid thought processes that maybe you'll be able to consider something, but to truly understand and accept something as a newfound reality is harder, especially when you get older. Like, your neurological pathways get deeper and deeper. So it's almost like you need someone to, and I think that's why like legends and storytelling has always existed, which is that's like that repetitious, that like different perspectives of the same story being grinded into your head, because it's like we have 1,000 stories that echo the same kind of points, but they're said through different perspectives, through different cultures, through different like positions of power, etc. And for whatever reason, I think over time that corrodes this idea of learning, especially when you get older. because it gets harder to accept new information into your brain as you age. But anyways, also let me catch up on chat. Sorry, got all up in my own shit. Sorry. Also, what's good, yo? Yo says, howdy, Grim. What's good, yo? Hopefully having a lovely day. Lone Ticket says the question is not gone. It is just a new. Oh, sorry. The question not gone. It's just a new quest to go on with the event and tied to the event. P.S. I don't actually know when there is only like 9 hours left. If you're only my younger self who first got into Genshin could see me now. Yeah, is that right? Oh my God. Yeah, man. I know what you're talking about. If only my oldest self could see me now. Who's like, I just want content. I'll devour it immediately. And now we're like, get away from me. You've hurt me for the last time. Okay. Fluff says they added characters every few updates, and there's no map coming very this week, or there's a new map coming this week, I believe. Otherwise, they have weapon skins and monetization scheme alongside the battle pass and starter for 2 months or so. Okay, doesn't seem like it's too egregious, at least. Rich says, the problem I have with Val is that there are priced skins which turns me off from the gameplay. Yeah, I understand. To me, it's again, I think there's a good way to harmonize those ideas, and I think it's like, well, you could give people cool skins with every update, or within the battle pass, or within something. And then you could have paid for skins. But I think the game companies always do this very obvious, like, the paid for skins are like animated, they're super much more money, but I think it also makes it, but if the skins are like super overpriced, then you're like, what the fuck? I'm not paying $40 for a skin. Are you shitting me? You know? Yo says, this is a random question, but do you think Ultimate Fighter Return will return this year in Let It Die? I don't know. Did it do it last year? Because Let It Die is on an update cycle, but I wouldn't think it would. Especially if it didn't do it the previous thing, which I don't think it did. Maybe, but I don't think they're collaborations. If that's what that is, I don't remember the Ultimate Fighter event entirely. Yo, Fluff says there's actually only 2 healers, one being part of the initial rosters. Sage, healer, Alec, cooldown. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. The Phoenix one I seen. He has all of his fire abilities and runs Siphon for killing foes. Okay. Yo says, lol, is that how RedTube started? What you mean? Oh, you mean the dating site? That would make more sense. That would make plenty of sense. Oof, pardon me. What do you mean? Why pardon you? Alone Sick says, my day was pretty chill. I was doing some drawing, but changed my mind. Most likely do some later, but I played some Red Dead and got to the final mission of this story. Well, Arthur's story, always I started another anime, and I ordered me a salad and chicken sandwich. Ooh, nice. From Wendy's. Ooh. And trying to do some Genshin event. Okay, interesting. Okay, wait. So do you finish Red Dead? You're done with Arthur's story? How do you feel about it? Not spoiling anything. Just tell me, what's the feeling? Is it emptiness or is it fulfillment? Especially with how long the fucking story is. I feel like it's kind of innately hard to not feel like a little hollow. Because you're like, oh, such a journey, you know? Flo says, I stuck with just buying the current battle pass after I started playing just before I began. And then the night market happened for about a week or so at the end of May, which offered static selections of skin, various discounts. I'm not that worried about getting expensive skins and have lots of bonus effects. And instead having to opt in to fill out my collection through what I got in the past. Endeavor collection, which are $10 each. During those surveys, it allowed me to offer it without much stress. Afford it without much. Yeah, no, that doesn't sound bad. Yeah. Again, I think to me, like a post-launch content, and that to me is like the thing that makes everything kind of mental. Is the idea that like what you just described is like $10 for a battle pass, maybe some experience books, maybe some like new skins, maybe like a new character or something. Maybe that's probably free, but just something that's there. I would like, this is a testament to kind of the weirdness that I think about when I think of Wonderlands, but the Mirror Mysteries is also $10, and it's crazy. But I think those people would determine this to be significantly not worth it. Like, I think the skins, the battle pass, the gameplay. people would be happy with just some cool skins and some different things like that. But in Wonderland's case, we have the damn mirror mysteries, and I think people are like, it's also not. It's $10 each, and you play it like you could basically play it once and you're done. But they force you to play it 5 times, and yeah. And at first it was like, hey, maybe you're getting some good gear. It may be worth. Maybe we're playing it that many times. But right now, it don't feel like that way. At least to me, it doesn't feel that way. I think to the entire community, I have not seen one person to be like, yeah, it is a ghost town out here. It is an absolute ghost town in the Wonderlands community. It is a whole ass thing. I knew so many people who were just popping off. And it's funny because as soon as they introduced chaos level shit, that was exactly when everyone was like, I'm done. I'm done. Oh, jeez. Losig says, I also did some light exercise, worked out my legs and stomach. What you be doing? You just do some crunches? But what about legs? Just doing air squats? Or are we doing some sort of different calisthenic thing? Let me hear about it. You know me. Whenever I hear about someone doing exercise, oh, we finally got a primordial drop. Oh, but it's the antique bow, which as soon as you fire it, it becomes worthless. It is a ×7 though, which is excessive. But I think as soon as we shoot it, it becomes trash. We'll take it, because fucking why not? I don't know. Whatever. Stupid. Fluff says, also, are you too close? You seem a little close. A little. There we go. Oh, okay. All right, there we go. A little far back. It's still too close, so you can see all my imperfections. There's a lot. So we're just gonna wind down, calm down. I used to play Counter-Strike a lot when I was younger, and with the abilities in place of grenades and other utilities makes it far more appealing to me, since I enjoy sci-fi and superhero sort of themes. Yeah, no, I definitely think that, like, to me, I would hope that Valorant in a lot of ways like kind of eats Counter-Strike, because I think it's like a good description of an evolution to what people liked, you know what I mean? And instead of adding like so much like extra clutter, they are like, no, let's keep everything that people loved about it grounded, and we'll just add a little bit of things bit by bit. What's this one? One says, it's still a great gun. The thing? Do you think it's still gonna pack a punch? Even if I shoot it, do you think it's gonna... I heard that this weapon basically dies as soon as you shoot it, but maybe it's still gonna be solid? Maybe. That'd be cool. I would hope that. I mean, Snipers recently got a tweak, but I don't know if it was to an extent in which it made it good. Also, I hate the fact that the up on the D-pad is just a nightmare. Anyways, all right, it does 7,000. We're shooting it once. It breaks. It drops down to 4,000. Okay, so yeah, 4,000 still not bad. Not the bad. Huh? Is it automatic? It's pretty small. It shoots very slowly, which I'm sure if you're a sniper guy, it's awesome. Also, its pattern is like a shotgun. It's neat. I wonder if you can use the Boltor on it. Probably. I wouldn't see why it would be not that. Lone Syndicate says, no, I didn't finish the Arthur story yet. I'm just on the final mission. Cause I wanted to talk to you about it this later, but it's so good. Is it good? Yeah, man. I had a feeling. It's one of those things where it's like, am I a freak because of this? Because of the nature of what I do and having to like constantly wanting to make better content and like trying to do that really heavily and all this stuff. And just also, you guys are the same thing. You have a busy life. You can like you enjoy stuff, but you're like, I'm like, it's such a big buy-in that it freaks me out. But to me, I fantasize about like when I get older and I can finally do the things, and then what if I die? And then I'm like, well, unlucky. But I don't know, part of me is like, when I get older, I'll have all these beautiful experiences, like the Spider-Man game. I totally want to play that. But right now, when I'm like 25-ish, I'm gonna burn my fountain of youth all down to the bottom. Okay, so that when hopefully my joints don't break. So when I get to being an old gross person, if I'm lucky enough to be that way, we can make some shit happen. Also, does anybody know what the best gun is for gun damage in the game? Is it like legendary wise, a gun that's fun, you know? Although part of me also wants to wish for some spells. What is the best gun in the game, legendary wise? Besides Sword Explosion, maybe even purple. That's gonna be. I'm not sure what to look for. So maybe that's a bad idea to ask that. Yeah, I'd say the Valorant. I feel that Valorant got out of the. You got the $10 worth out of the Valorant skins. Yeah. That's a big thing, man. Like I think the biggest thing to ask yourself when you're creating stuff is not, this is the same as this, why didn't it work? Instead, you say, what do you call it? What is the way in which I can make every party happy? And in understanding that, I think you can understand what to provide to a person. So like right now, I think it's really stupid to offer certain type of microtransactions because people have like a built-in hatred towards them. You know what I mean? Especially when you're not like tried and tested. Like this is the EA problem where like they say, hey, give us money, but have added no value to the prospect, or the idea of what they're offering. Like it's not, the consumer for me right now, I feel like is hungry for a good deal. I feel like games that don't breach that are actually being paid in huge amounts, and it's funny because I think you can have your cake and eat it too. I think Genshin, for all of its problems, I do think its monetary system seems to be clever. Like a lot of stuff has access, especially after Diablo Immortals. A lot of stuff you can have access to, but it is just whether you want to go hard in the paint. So they're almost like monetizing heavily their gluttonous player base, but also simultaneously making it so that the small player base can still kind of be fine. But it's kind of like a test case for control. Like the people who are training away from the addiction pulls of the future, I guess. Lone Sigurd says, I understand why the value of the sniper goes down, but why does the damage also go down? Like, you're telling me firing this weapon once working in the gun, just nukes the damage. Yeah, that makes no sense. I mean, it still does, I think, a lot of damage, granted, but I agree. Lone said, I wanted to ask the chat this. I'm not sure if my mods know how to do this poll thing to the extent in which it's not a nightmare to pull off. So feel free to not do a poll, but it would be cool if some of you were like, fuck it. I wanted to do a poll and ask you guys, what do you guys prefer? So if I gave you an option, if I became god of Wonderland or whatever, and I gave the option, the mayhem that existed at the end of Borderlands 3, which is basically no gimmicky modifiers. It was just like enemies have more health, higher probability of you getting an anointment on your weapon, and then the other option is chaos rank, and maybe. Well, no, I'm sorry. Like, if I try to tweak the chaos rank, then I just make it mayhem basically. I'm curious. What do you guys think? Would you guys rather have original mayhem or the chaos level stuff? And let me give you a third option, just to be a glutton for punishment. What if you had none of these, and you just had increased variability with increased description of that text? So instead of it being like that, instead we could go here, and just like you can see this kind of grayed out text, you could have something that says, has a specific tag, kind of similar to melee weapons. So if you see melee weapons have a tag like this, which is basically Spellblade, and then it says something. You could have something called like Magic Bullet or something like that, and that says converts spell damage, 30% of spell damage into gun damage, into your gun. And that was like rare to find, and maybe that like they had a rarity on these specific things. So not only would it be about getting a legendary, but it would be about getting a specific trait that actually was good enough to warrant like you freaking out that you got it, rather than you seeing like, oh my god, it's chaotic. Oh, I'm playing on Primordial. Oh, never mind. Instead, you'd be like, I got a legendary. What are the stats on it? Holy fuck, it's perfect! Along with also having variability with its damage, like *3, as well as its magazine, as well as its all these other things. But which would you rather have? So variability, mayhem levels, or what is it called? Chaos levels. I'm curious if I get one person who replies, because I think it's just like everyone's playing their video games. It's supposed to be a chill stream. It's supposed to be a chill stream, and we're asking a bunch of questions. I apologize. We got Bony Face Gun, Chaotic. Again, nothing chaotic primordial matters to me. I got confirmation today that I can just flip that switch. And we're going to do that. We're going to absolutely do that. I'm hoping that Gearbox doesn't like destroy me and be like, he's cheating. And I'm like, come on. If that's how I go, I'll go out like a hero. I'd rather go in that way. I wanted to also get some spells, because maybe we can find some cool spells for the updated Torrent build that we're going to pop out eventually. Whew. But granted, I don't hate enchantments, by the way. I think enchantments do have a place, but I don't think they should. Here's the thing. I don't think enchantments should spawn on guns, period. I think that should be something strictly done as a fodder resource for you to get moon ore. I don't think it should ever spawn with an enchantment on it. Yeah, I think it only should spawn with the variability that it possesses. And maybe if the variability on the bottom half are tiered, so having like damage conversion through ability, spell ability, or anything like that is gold. Like that's a huge variability proc that you manage to hit. That's awesome. But yeah, and maybe there'd be like a white version of that people would think is not that good, but actually is that good if you have the right build. You know, things like that could be gamified, played with, and amplified, which I think is exciting for the community. But yeah. Fluff says, I very much recommend playing Spider-Man Miles Morales. Yeah, I was gonna play Miles Morales. Miles Morales seemed like it was much more my kind of, like, it seemed like they tweaked the combat and the gameplay. It was a little more like superpowery as well, where Spider-Man is like kind of like a brawler, it seems like, in a weird way, whereas Miles Morales seems like he's just like a juggernaut, like just that's a bad way to describe it. Berserker. He seems like he's just fucking throwing around like electricity. that was a real hard word to say. But yeah, Fluff says, I think the idea with the antique bow is that it's meant to just be a fodder for sold. I think that's what it is. Yeah, breaks when fired is it's old and fragile. I see. So the damage tanks as a result. Gotcha. You know, I think it makes sense. I think it's just, it makes no sense in retrospect because there's nothing to spend our money on. You know, like money is useless, especially with how much we get for just doing chaos chambers. You'll be able to buy whatever you want from the vending machines. You know what I mean? And honestly, if that was, they're like, okay, we were listening. We're gonna descale we're gonna increase how much stuff costs in the vending machines. I don't think that's the right call. I think that's just innately unfun. Why am I gonna spend like 2 hours re-rolling a vending machine when I can literally just be surrounded by gold in this room? Like, it just doesn't make any sense with the value proposition that's before us. But yeah. Ooh, times 7. God damn, missile barrage and everything. 12-second reload. Also, man, I wish you could shrink the HUD because these are huge to see. Summons multiple spectral wyverns. All right, the wyvern skill, ability, all that. Reviver, bolt blast. That's not bad. It's also cryo. If only it was times 2, but it's got 4 charges, man. Golly, we'll take that one, actually. That might be something. What are we doing? Earthquake, fire. Ooh, a repeating cast and 2 charges. I don't know if that's good or not. Ooh, repeat spell in a large radius around its initial blast. Is that what I think it does? Oh, okay. I mean, it's still cool. Explode. It still could be fun. We could rock that. Ooh, another bolt blast. Except this one's significantly better. It's 3 charges, but it is times 2. That's solid. Again, right now we're just looking. This is much more better for me. This is so much better. We're just looking for potential. We're not looking for like primordial and shit. I don't know if I could do it yet, by the way, but this is this is what I'm going with. Okay, maybe I'll get the real rude awakening that you can't do it like that. I think you can. I think I've seen like a file like changer thing that you can do, which seems nice. Which seems just really nice. Magic barrage. Hydras. Ooh, well, that's what I was thinking. I was quake. Ooh, this is the one that ripples. I don't know if that one's good enough. Judgment, hydras, 3 fireballs. Oh, if only I had more. Ooh, but it is repeating cast. I don't know, man. That one's pretty neat though. Repeating cast, earthquake knocks back enemies. I don't think I've ever seen Earthquake that also splinters off as a repeating cast. I think apparently that exists because that's what that one was. Yeah, nice. Marshmallow weirdness. We also have this. Ooh, Primordial Hydra. 2 spells too. I do think we actually that's not the worst. It is electrical based. It's cooldown a little bit heavy. It's got a stupid high radius, which means nothing in regards to that. But yeah, Tidebreaker, and that's all the rest. I don't think we found any guns here that were worth anything. Even just prefix wise. Bony Face Soul. Ruby. Yeah, no, we're good. What's that one? Another ruby? Yeah. Another ruby. Oh! Oh, did we have a doucher? Fluff, I didn't even see it. As fast as the wind. Fluff says, I think would have preferred level cap increase. Oh, I wanted to actually, yeah, so Fluff replied to me. Thank you. I wanted to catch what you said. I think the ideal longbow. I think I would prefer level cap increase with substantive, I can't say that word, story DLCs. Mayhem was only really fun for me once I reached Mayhem 11, was adding where it just scaled up rewards without adding additional punishments, yeah, or bonuses, yeah. And Chaos Rank doesn't offer much once you get the ideal volatile / primordial of your legendary choices. Benefit of Mayhem, you can run around the entire game, farm various bosses. It still rewards travel and exploration rather than just running the chambers over and over again. What do you mean? What do you mean? Yeah, so you're saying benefit of Mayhem. Okay, so Mayhem level. Okay, so Chaos level you're saying is yeah, I'm not sure. To me, why would that be the case? I think it's still valuable, way more valuable to do the Chamber of Chaos. And regardless, even if they were Mayhem scaling. I'm confused. Fluff says Miles has more unique powers with his Venom Blast, camouflage, and such. Spidey has always had more tech and gadgets by comparison. Oh, okay. See, is that what determines it? Gotcha. That makes more sense. Because yeah, I didn't see that stuff. Who would have thought? I seen some of these Spider-Man stuff. I just didn't know how in depth it got because I never really seen Spider-Man be played at endgame kind of stuff. You know. I always feel like that's something that games, I think, and I might be looking at the past with rose-colored glasses, but I always thought that's what games did better in the past, is like the power fantasy kind of feeling, because I feel like a lot of games to me don't feel like I think that was one of the things that Saints Row did perfectly well, where you basically started off as like a smushy little guy just doing his best. And then became like a juggernaut animal who just was like unkillable. You feel like you rise through the ranks. And I don't know many games that make me feel entirely like that. It kind of almost makes me feel like it's okay. we did okay, you know. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't feel like we've made a huge journey, you know. Is that the one? Maybe we should try this out. The Bolt Lash ×2 ricochets around. Sure, let's try that out. Change it up a little bit. We have our nuke. We have our high priority single target damage thing. Didn't look like it was doing a lot, Cap. I'll be honest. It's also really like specifically you have to aim. It's like a headshot thing. I'm not in. Anyway, where are we going? Where's my? Damn it! Is that it? That might be it. That's it. Nice. Lone Syndicate says, let's see, don't really like Chaos level. Mayhem levels were good, like Mayhem level 11 made it a lot better as far as viable for players like me. I was never really one to hunt for like the perfect version of a gun in Borderlands for me. I personally was like, as long as I get a gun, I'm happy. Like I never was the one to make sure the video weapon had a specific part or anything like other people are like in that. Yeah, Rob. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Like some people. But that's to me the thing, Lone Syndicate. I wonder if you didn't do it because there was no incentive to do it. That's why I say, like, again, I'm trying to like speak to almost the mind of a player. Whereas, like, I think, like, in the past Borderlands games, what Lone Syndic's referring to, if you guys aren't privy to the whole weirdness that exists without these games, is people would mid-max this. So there was a bait, and they made it easier to where you can actually go into here. But beforehand, you had to just look at the weapon, and then you would basically you could induce that was a Hyperion stock that it basically made it so that the more you fired, the more accurate it became. So people would be able to pick up a weapon, look at it, and be like, okay, this is the perfect version based on the parts, which is a testament to how absolutely insane people are in Borderlands. But to me, when I'm talking about Lone Syndicate, I'm curious about this. Genuinely, answer me honestly. If you specifically had a build that was facilitating like melee damage or whatever it was, maybe magic, mage. I think that was the build you were working on last you were playing, and there was a thing that specifically said just same as this, and the same kind of layout as this, with this little diamond, and it said like, what do you call it, spell bullet or something, and it literally showed you that if you had this, it would completely convert your damage with magic converting right into that. I think if you've seen that, you'd be like, perfect. This could, like, you'd get a little jolt of excitement when you've seen that, because the other thing is that Borderlands is a co-op game, so you're kind of being like teased along with your friends just to kind of sit back, grind, have a fun time, and it's those subtle like dopamine rushes that you get when you finally get something that like drops that keeps you like, hey, this is actually more than just me having an excuse to spend time with my friends. This is something that actually is giving me like a little bit of a happy burst essentially. So that when you did see that, even though you're maybe not farming for those things specifically, which is why I do like the idea of, this is the beauty of variability. If you farm bosses, if you kill enemies, if you go into chaos chambers, if you do the DLC stuff, there's always a chance for a piece of gear to drop, and there's always a chance for that piece of gear to have it like an amazing thing on it. And then when you look at that, and your eyes are basically trained to immediately look at the bottom corner of it, and you've trained your brain to see certain things like spell blade or spell shot that are glowing white like this, which is pretty easy to pick up. I feel like that would just give you a little bit of a dopamine rush that would keep you like, maybe you're not hunting for it specifically, but when it happened, I feel like it would add to your player experience. That would make you feel like I could play it for maybe 10 more minutes. I could play for maybe 20 more minutes. Oh, maybe I'm winning. Maybe I could win a little bit more. And it kind of plays into the same idea of like, basically wanting to keep getting more and more out of a system. Kind of like gambling, when you start winning, you feel more confident that you're going to continue to win. Yeah. And it's fine because we're playing a video game that it's not requiring you to, buy a currency. So it's not like, gambling to me is fine when no one's like losing their fucking home and shit. Break it up. Also, what's good, Steph? Steph says, I was having a good luck grinding Mayhem 5, but now grinding Mayhem 10 and 11, and drops aren't so good. Pretty frustrating. Steph, I'm not sure if you're on PC. If you are, I think I might have talked about this before. I think you might be. Yeah, if you're on PC, there are like certain mods for Borderlands 3 that help with a lot of stuff like that. Like you can scale things appropriately. I know it may seem a little synthetic, but I liked it. It was nice from my perspective. But yeah, the Mayhem levels were always weird. Again, I would have always hoped that if you're able to, the incentive to play on higher levels was to get like better things, like to have multiple different variations on your weapon. Like, how we just talked about spell bullet. Well, what if there was a couple other ones that were useful for your specific build? I think they need to step away from they kind of did the same shit in Wonderlands, which I don't exactly like, but they did the thing where it's basically on spell cast get damage, on spell cast, get this damage, that damage, on activation of action skill, get this damage buff, increase that damage buff from the element that you're doing. It basically just makes it so that, okay, why are we in need of so much skyrocketing damage? And you're like, oh, it's because that's all that's valued at endgame, and all the other perks seem like they're fundamentally useless when if the only viable thing is to get through the encounter and not to survive. Then it makes every kind of build feel a little weird. Now, if there was a character like in the Clawbringer that converted your HP into damage, then yeah, it would be like, okay, and this is actually worth you having a ton of HP, and it kind of added up to generally the similar thing. And maybe there was another skill within the Clawbringer skill tree that when you take copious amounts of damage, you actually can throw a fireball back like Krieg, like a ball falling off of your character that's going to impact and do a lot of damage. That stuff is the stuff that people can sequence in and have fun with, but it's always, to me, it's a very lazy thing when you're like, and here's more damage for doing nothing. And it's like, oh no, that means that means endgame is super scaled for damage and that there's no incentive for anything else. And you're like, ugh. And it sucks because a lot of the skill trees in this game, I think, are actually made in a way that could warrant you actually having like an HP build or something, you know? Also, let me scroll up. Lone Ticket says, while I'm over here, like, is this a rocket launcher? Yes. I can kill things? Yes. Is that the right element? Yes. All right, good enough for me. I know, I agree with that, but I don't think it takes away the stimulation proc, Lone Syndicate, that would happen if you did see another win, you know what I mean? And then you felt that, like, holy shit, I won, you know? Because that's the other thing, is like sometimes you can have like the perfect weapon, but if it doesn't really do any better than the normal one, then there's literally no incentive to get it, you know? Like, that's something I think Gearbox has kind of done in some regards with this game, where when you have like a ×3, they lower the shit out of the damage, or they do something kind of tricky where they're like, oh, okay, yeah, this weapon fires ×3, but it consumes twice the ammunition, and it only has 6 shots. So you're kind of like, yeah, you'll be firing twice and then you'll be on cooldown because you're reloading, and you kind of net the same amount of damage, but kind of like in different slight ways. That way you're like neck and neck, but there's just destroys the incentive to like, hey, I've got something that feels good to have gotten, and also is good and continues to make me feel good because it's working. We're working overtime, you know. Fluff says, weapon parts material the most obligated Borderlands lost because variability and legendaries became far more static and stuck to the gimmicks, perhaps set of parts, which is a minor difference at the best. Enchantment can be re-rolled endlessly, which is a good thing, but also makes finding good enchantments far less exciting nor necessary as drops. If the rest of the weapon had variable passives like melee, perhaps it'd make things more enjoyable. Yeah, that would be also a good idea. Yeah, the only thing I worry about that is, again, I think you'd have to get really creative with coming up with with something that makes you excited to partake in it, because I feel like, again, it would just devolve into like melee damage, you know, which if it had some sort of thing like when getting a cryo kill, you get a stupid surge of melee damage. At least that is like, okay, that's something that I need to build for. That's a restriction that I have, that playing Berserker will completely like push me more in the direction of that, you know. Also, I missed a person. What's good? Swollen says problem is this is not Borderlands. It's Wonderlands. Comparing the two is the first problem. Yeah, see, I disagree. Okay, then let's judge this as a singular game. I still think it's a problem. Like, regardless of what's happening, if you judge this game as its own entity, people are dropping off heavily. Mayhem levels, to me, are making people frustrated with the gear that they're getting. Regardless, the ship is sinking. The fire is everywhere. Regardless of if we are judging this as a singular game or we're judging this to Diablo, whatever. Also, I think this game is extremely similar to Borderlands, like almost identical. Like with Borderlands 3, with Mayhem levels, we have Chaos levels. We have, what do you call it? Instead of spells, we had crazy grenades that did the same thing as spells. I don't think this game is any way different from Borderlands, with the one exception of having an actual endgame piece of content, which is this. But yeah, that's my take, Swollen. I'm curious why you're perceiving it that way. And I'm not saying you're wrong, by the way. I'm just curious about why, because that's definitely not my sense. My sense is that this is a fair comparison. But if your perspective is that it isn't, then I would love to hear it. Let's see, it says, like, when I farm for Northfleet. I lost it again. I gotta read I gotta start reading the bottom of the chat. No way more mad, but yes, I am. I just wanted to dang thing to drop. Yeah, the Northfleet was a pain in the ass to farm. I agree. Also, Steph says, I'm on PS4, sadly. Oh no, sorry, Steph. Fluff says, that's silly. This isn't comparing apples to oranges. Wonderlands is in the Borderlands games is the prior entries. Weapon enchantments, basically enchant. Yeah, I think I think it's similar, but I'm curious. Steph says, Wonderlands did enchantments better, I think. No, I agree. I think enchantments in Wonderlands are awesome. I think they should exist. I just think that I don't think it should be. I feel like if it was earned, like, to me, I would do it this way. If I could like refix the loot system for my selfish own gain, which maybe people don't like, which is totally understandable. But if I really was gonna do everything, I would make it so that it's impossible to get an enchantment on any weapon without doing it at the table itself, and for it to cost a fuck ton. Because right now there's nothing that's like a delayed gratification thing for us. And then I would give current gratification that flips those switches in the brain by doing the whole thing here, which is to add something here, which would basically give viability to builds, give viability to ways of playing. Because to me, it's still like it's lost on me that like there's nothing that converts gun damage into melee damage to gun damage or something like that. When there's so many builds that build for that, and there's so many bosses that require you to be far the fuck away, to do ranged melee damage in a way, or ranged damage, I should say. So yeah, I would take away that. I would take away enchantments. I'd make it more expensive. That way, it adds some delayed gratification. I would also change you can keep the basically you can have a ×3 weapon, neat. You can have a TDR weapon that has a kind of an effect. And you can have a maybe a magazine change and maybe a reload speed change, maybe a fire rate change, but these are marginally kind of the same. They're not going to change your whole perception of a gun. But I do think we need something else like this, because this to me was one of the funner things hunting for. When you're trying to find a pixie, to me, Furior's nailed it when it comes to actually finding something that is different. Whereas when I don't know how people who are farming Jacobs are in any way excited, because it's like, oh, Jacobs it ricochets more, or it I don't know what the other ones were, like it stacks damage maybe, whatever. Yeah, and then if they did introduce primordial gear where you're incentivized to play on a higher level, instead of just having something as simple as, hey, this is primordial, instead why not have something that you get one more star. So now that you're playing on this high level, you have another access point to get another star rating on a weapon. That way it's like, oh, okay, I have another chunk to get perfect, and therefore I can get the most crazy thing ever. It doesn't really make sense because you're scaling up damage. This is the other thing that doesn't make sense about primordial gear, is you're playing to work and not playing to play, which is rough. But yeah. Again, they could fix this problem by adding incentives. They could fix this problem by if you play on the max possible difficulty primordial or level 35, you unlock this thing in your base, this thing in the Chaos Chamber wing that gives you a chance at a unique legendary or unlocks a specific thing, maybe a raid boss that you can fight as an individual raid boss, and maybe drops a specific class mod, something. You can add incentive and make it feel like, okay, it's worth pushing into the depths. But right now there's no incentive. It's just play to play, or play to work to play, not play to attain, which I feel like is the nature of Borderlands. It's always been a game that every loot game is play to attain, and I think a lot of games are perceiving the wrong thing, which is play for difficulty. You're playing to have a hard time, and you're like, no, we're not playing to have a fucking ball crushing time. This is the same community that farmed a boss over and over and over again. In what way does that make it seem like, you know what I want? I want to take another 50 minutes farming that boss. That's my best time. What? Are we crazy? No. Stop it. Hans says, I agree with you, Grin. Thank you for the echo chamber and the confirmation bias. Hans, I'm kidding. By the way, I always like to point that out because I appreciate you people a lot, but I'm also I wonder, I don't know. I'm also the person that it's rough. Sometimes you're craving confrontation. Other times you're having a bad day and you're like, leave me alone. I don't want to, but I appreciate that, man. Hopefully, again, I hope what I'm saying makes sense, because my whole thing is I also say things not just to say them, even though it may sound like I'm oh, I'm super confident about what I'm saying. This is how I would fix it. And I'm like, shut up, idiot. You don't know what you're doing either. But I also the reason why I speak is to see, to gauge what you guys think, because I genuinely am wondering if I'm super off. When Lone Syndicate fired back and said, which I appreciated, by the way, that he's not the kind of person that hunts variability. So the fact that I keep going on about it, I could see to him be that's not quite my answer to this problem, and I understand that. But my whole counterpoint is that even if you're not that player, I think you would be at least positively influenced slightly by the prospect of getting something that you can easily understand is good. I think right now, in the problem that we're having right now in Wonderlands is also that, in just looter shooter games in general, actually, it's just that things are hard to understand how they're good. A lot of times you're looking at a gun and it's like, is this good? Like every player has that meme that's like looking at a fucking butterfly and is like, is this a bird? Because unless you're in it and like you're knowing everything, yeah, you need to like speak through the voice of your consumer, and your consumer does not have time to nitpick and know what like every barrel mod is, you know? So yeah, so yeah. Fluff says, farming for primordials. I lost it. So slow at reading. Farming for primordials isn't satisfying. It's a tedious grind and chambers on repeat. Get crystals to have the loot bunnies vomit out most junk. Rinse and repeat. Yeah, no, that to me is yeah. I would 100% agree with that. And it sucks because again, I like chaos chambers. I think that the idea of like, hey, there's an endgame resource thing that's slightly ever changing, slightly, and yeah. But to me, I don't think they ever addressed like, why do we want moon ore? Just to do enchantments. What happens when you get all enchantments? Moon ore is fundamentally reduced to nothing. Okay, why else would we do chaos chambers? To do what do you call it? To get money, essentially. To get money for what? To buy our vending machine to get legendaries? Why? What's the incentive? Like it leaves this kind of feeling of like, what? Stop. Also, but yeah, you know, yeah. Ooh, salt and battery, fire. Battery amplified, gun damage. Nah. Also, if you hear children screaming, I'm not a murderer, promise. But also, it's my nephew's popping off because it's Father's Day. Also, shout out to the fathers out in chat if there's any. Thank you so much for doing God's work, frankly. And yeah, shout out to all the pops in the world who didn't fuck it up. Okay, who didn't, which I'm sure every father's like, I kind of fucked up at some way. Okay. Fluff says, and if not, for the ability to back up saves, sharing save files, thus duping ideal drops the rolls, will be far more. Yeah, I would like. To me, I think that's something that Gearbox could convince themselves in a way. Is that like, oh, these fuckers are sharing the save file. That's what ruined it. It's like, no, man. No, I would, if I was grinding still, and like it's like a give and take. You need to feel rewarded and feeling like you're progressing. Whereas if you do like a whole night of playing and you still haven't gotten anything, it doesn't make you feel like you want to keep playing. It makes you feel like, why am I playing this? Like that's the whole point of like gambling. Like gambling, they do a lot to kind of induce you to like think you are kind of winning, you know? Lone Singlet says, I understand what you're getting at, Grin. Sorry I went on any angry rant. Don't get me wrong. There were a few times I farmed for the best version of guns, like an X2 unkempt Herald. When I did, I was happy. Oh yeah, what? I don't understand what you're. I understand what you're getting at, Grin. Sorry, I went angry. No, what? No, I didn't perceive that as at all angrily, man. Yeah, no, I didn't perceive that as in any way angrily. I agree with the anger. Yeah, even if it was towards me, that's fair. I'm not perfect. I absolutely push back. Again, I'm the asshole who likes to be like, actually, I don't know if I agree with that. And that may be like a very known, like a very well debated issue or something. And I'm like, I don't feel like it's the wrong assessment of the problem, you know? Oh my God, buns! Holy shit, buns! Well, we should wait. I don't know. Sometimes some people's ad blocker works when they're loading into a stream, and other times it doesn't work at all. Like for me, yesterday, I never get to see people's reaction anymore because fucking Twitch updated their ad blocker, and I can't see shit as soon as I click on a person's thing. Anyways, buns, how are you? Hope you're having a lovely stream. Buns is a wonderful person, always playing all kinds of games. You guys should absolutely check it out. Very positive people, pops into our streams like a crazy person, giving us far too much credit and being way too nice. What's good, Buns? How was your stream? I mean, you know, it's like a positive madness. It's a positive madness, you know? Everyone needs a little bit of madness, or else you go crazy in this world. Hence the madness. Anyways, yeah, positive, exactly. Have you been keeping up with Genshin, Buns? I'm not sure. To me, I've been taking a break. I think you've also. Well, I'm not sure. You seem like you dabble around with a lot of games, so I can't quite put a pin on you. But I'm wondering if you're keeping up with Genshin still. Are you still keeping up with the husbando meta, or have you let it simmer? I haven't played Genshin in a long time. I get it. Are you, hey, but are you looking at, well, first of all, I'm not sure if you've seen a lot of the game coverage stuff that happened last week. What game are you most excited for? Because for me, as far as Genshin goes, I'm very excited for Tower of Fantasy. Well, that game looks like it could have some content, content to get into. Steph says the music is huge. When I went back to Borderlands 3, I really noticed how much the music was lacking in Wonderland. Well, yeah, I also think it's Borderlands has this, like, again, chaotic kind of vibe, you know, to where I think that's kind of more charming for the mind. Whereas everyone's heard kind of like adjacent fantasy sounds like forever. So I feel like it's not a surprising perspective, at least to me, Steph. I would agree. I think that makes sense. Buns says, I'm doing swell. Love to hear it, Buns. Stream was chill. Nice. What do you get up to? What did you get up to? I need to enunciate more. God damn. Oh no, you're sick. Oh no, you're sick of the RNG. Okay, what were you playing? I see. No, you're sick of the artifact RNG. That makes sense. It'll get you. It'll break your will down for sure. For sure. Been there. I haven't seen any game. Oh, you haven't? Oh my god. Well, frankly, some games were cool. I'll be honest. This year E3 kind of time left me wanting, essentially. But there were some noteworthy things. One game I think you might like. Well, let me see. What do you call it, Buns? Do you like games like Binding of Isaac or what's that game called, Fluff, where you're on an island and you're like selling turnips? I apologize. I know people love it. I keep saying Stardew Valley. That's a similar beast, except not at all, you know? God damn it. I can't think of the thing. Selling turnips? Yeah, or like onions, you know? Like you're just vibing with a little chibi character. Animal Crossing, that's the one. It's like an Animal Crossing, build your town, have a fun time. It's like that, except you play, this game I'm talking to you about is this game where you play a sheep, an animal, cute sheep. If you've ever seen, like, you know, cutie little kind of chibi looking animal cutout things, it's like that, except you're playing a sheep who is basically creating a cult, and he's going around to these areas, taking in like weird other animal hybrid things. They're not like hybrids as human. They're just like animals that stand up, which is kind of weird, but you know. Anyways, yeah, you aggregate them. I think you can sacrifice them. Because it's called Cult of the Lamb, so it's like you're playing the literal lamb that they killed, except I think he's like, nah, I'm gonna build a village and own this shit, which seems fun. It also seems very cute, but I like that. It's like, it's cute, but it's also kind of fucking dark. It's also like, hey, don't cross sheep. Okay, don't cross the sheep. Borderlands has amazing music, and also one sec, give me a sec. I'm losing chat. Y'all too fast. Love says, I feel like there was quite a collective of exodus from Genshin. Yeah. Or a good exodus. Yeah, everyone was packing up. I'm playing Unpacking Simulator. All right. All right. I should have known. I should have. Yes. People who play Unpacking Simulator feel like they are a person that is embodying what is only can be described as stress. Okay, I will ask, Buns, have you also played Power Washing Simulator? Because, woof, woof. These people need to get in a hot bath, light some candles, relax, okay? Because their life needs some balance, okay? Oh, jeez. Oh, I'm about to get killed by a skull. God damn it, stop it. You sold me at the yeah? I can't wait. I can't wait to see what you think about it. You ever maybe Google it at some point, because it looks like a whole trip. And Game Informer made a pretty big video about it. Cute sheep and cult? Yes, exactly. Also, I think like you have like a little village that you basically build up, and they're building like an effigy statue. At some point, it might be burned alive. Who knows? But they're faithful. They're also burying their brotherhood in the trailer they released recently, where like this guy's being introduced to the town. And he's like, look at all the cool things we're doing, and then they're like behind the shed. They're like burying 1,000 corpses of their other people, and you're like, ooh, This is a cute game in a dark world. Jesus Christ. Bun says, I am stressed. I mean, no red flags anywhere. Just has 2022 release date, Cult of the Lamb, that is. Yeah, I hope it comes out soon, though. I feel like it's also a game that probably would, I thought it would do early access and then develop it, and it still might do that, but you'd think you'd hear about it at this point. Unpacking, Fluff says, unpacking is a sweet game. Reveals FromSoft games in regards to environmental storytelling. Oh, I thought it was like a... Okay. Wait, what? Bun says, I've been working too... Yeah, Bun's gotta be careful. Although, I don't know. Sometimes you're like, fuck it. You know, sometimes you just have... as much as you are tired and exhausted, you're like, you know what? Fuck you. You have like a bit of rebellion that's like, you know what? No. You know that one thing that I probably don't want, but I will spend money on? That. I'm gonna work for that. And then when you have it, you're like... Cool. I've attained a thing. Nice. And it's pain. I'm gonna get some ice cream. Ooh, he's gonna get some ice cream. Man. Oof. Okay, so what do you guys think goes good with nachos, by the way? Because I was blown away at something that it made sense. It should not have blown me away. Let's full stop. It should not have blown me away. But what would you put on nachos outside of like any sort of fruit? Well, no, that makes sense. Let's say no like peppers, nothing like that. Maybe stuff like that. God damn it, I'm trying to stack the deck so you guys can have an obvious this, and I just never put it together. Okay, you can have hamburger, cheese, and what else? What is it? Maybe olives, whatever. What is the other things that you would think would go well on nachos? Go. Fluff says, Cult of the Lamb can be pre-ordered. Currently releases on August 11th as a demo. Ooh. Wait, what's today? Oh, we're still far away. Ugh. Probably end of the year then? Yuck. It's so far away. So what am I doing? We should just murder this person wherever he is. Where did he go? I think he went underground. I lost him. Where's that thing right there? He's skating around. Go, pixies! Quickly before I die, because I think I have, the one thing on. Whew. Bun says, I've been having too much of those rebellious feelings. Exactly. Fluff says, it's not a simulator so much as it's a zen game to unwind and enjoy an unspoken story of characters going through milestones in their life. Holy shit. I was not expecting that. What the fuck? That's okay. Whenever I hear simulator, I think you need to relax. You need to unwind. My brother played truck driving simulator, in which that was it. That was literally it. He bought a steering wheel and just did that. And I was like, what is happening in your life where this is an escape? Okay, what is going on? And yeah, people get after it. I love it, honestly. I think it's funny, but it's also like, you survive in however you want to survive. All right. Lone Singlet says, also Grin, a bit off topic, but I wanted to tell you about an anime I started. It's once again, it's called Witchcraft Works. Lone Syndicate, I'm ashamed of myself. I was going to suggest this show to you. This is actually a show that Fluff, if he remembers this show, I talked to Neb about it a lot. He was not into it. But I'm very hopeful for this show. It's really cool premise. Unless it's the one I'm thinking of it, which I think it is. Is it the premise where basically it's like a reverse perception of the classic trope of like the knight and the damsel, except the dude in this case is the damsel and the girl is like the badass knight, Giga Chad, except more stoic than anything than Giga Chad is. But yeah, that one, man, I have high hopes for that one. That one looks So good. To me, I'm waiting for it to get dubbed. It's been out for a while though, so it's in one of those weird categories where I'm like, will this ever happen, or are we always stuck in this hell, never getting a sequel for it? But no, man, I can't wait. You have to let me know what it is, how it ends up being, because man, I am so excited for that show. Whenever it gets dubbed, it looks like beautiful. Like there's some of those animes that I'm like, why is this not dubbed? But like the anime that looks like shit is just immediately dubbed and finished, and everywhere. Maybe it's like licensing. Maybe they're like, no, we're gonna get a good deal for this show. Maybe, but it looked great, like visually, like crazy animation. Except this came out like I think in 2018, maybe 17. It was out for a while, but it looked very neat. I couldn't wait to watch it. Fluff says, I enjoy 5-7 layer dip. God damn, and nachos? Seems like seems like kind of fancy. It's like, that's a lot. So I was like, can you make nachos? That's a whole ass ordeal for Fluff. Bun says, I like spinach, artichoke dip. Okay. I don't know. Spinach just has such a negative connotation to it that I'm like, well, okay. What? Got sword explosion. We got. Man, kids do not know how to walk not on like their heels and just like say, hey ground, fuck you. Ugh. Also, the reason why I asked guys about the nachos thing is because I went over to my brother's house and they put, wait for it, red beans, like red chili beans, not chili, like just beans you'd find in chili, basically red beans, on the nachos. Shockingly amazing. I thought like, oh, it's gonna be like a weird texture of mushing. No, absolutely, with the cheese, with the hamburger, with some of the, with what do you call it, some red beans on top. Oof. Also, they were like tender, so it was just like, I was surprised. I did not know. And one of those things where I was like, idiot. Yeah, like what, a taco, a nacho, you put beans in that shit, it just makes it nice, you know? Well, not so nice for the aftermath, you know, it's kind of like a whole ass, no kidding. But yeah, a mango salsa for me. You guys too cultured. I'm out here blending my nacho, what is it called, salsa? I'm blending salsa because I hate the fucking chunks in it because it bothers me. I don't like. I'm a crazy person also, but I hate when I'm like, you have a nice chip that's not nice and crispy, and then you have this delicious tomato sauce basically going on it, and then you're eating it, and then you have this weird texture of like a plant, like a pepper, and you're like, stop it. No, I like the taste of it. I don't like the texture of the weird nonsense in it. Although I never tried guac or anything like that with nachos. Although I hear people go buck wild with that. Also, man, kids, I'm worried for the floor. It's just gonna get nuts. Snowballing Ice Queen, no, not that. Wait, what was that? No, there's two there. I'm blind. Am I looking at the right thing? Maybe there's just two Queen's Calls here. Yeah, there's two. Okay, that's what happened. I was like, what the hell? Scamp. Of that, it is a school digger weapon. No, we're just gonna do this. Over here, pop. Whew. Lone Syndicate says, what is this? Guacamole on nachos? I've never tried. I had like avocado a little bit, just like a little bit of avocado, but I don't know. Some people really love avocado. As much as I realize it's like a fucking great thing for you, really good source of fat, all that stuff. It's not so good if you don't digest fat really well, or you hang on to weight really hard. But I don't know. I missed it. Like I tried to like it, and I kept trying to eat it. I used to have it in smoothies and whatnot, and I don't like the. I just something in my brain is like avocado, not for me. I'm not sure if it's like I'm Native American and Portuguese, and we're just Portuguese doesn't make sense because yeah, but Native American maybe there's some sort of genetic thing that's like, you know what? No, stop it. I don't know what this is. Why is this here in my northern land? Watch avocados in some fucked up way be attached to the native tradition. I was like, oh well, shit. But I haven't usually dipped in salsa with nachos. Not much of a fan of mango or anything with. Really? Who doesn't like pineapple? I feel like pineapple is amazing, but it makes my tongue itchy. So that's why I like peaches. Peaches and nectarines. Best. I'd say nectarines are peak though. I feel like my favorite fruit, nectarine. Hard nectarine specifically. If it's all mushy and shit, it ruins it for me. I'm a freak. Or just an annoying complainer. But yeah. Lunsick says, you did suggest it to me, Grin. It was about a month ago. Oh, okay, I did. Okay, good. Whew. I was about to say, that was the show that I really wanted to watch. And it was dubbed, or subbed, sorry. And I was like, man. But also, I don't know. I think it depends. I'm not gonna talk about it yet because I want to know what your authentic feelings of it are, Lone Syndicate. So I'll wait. That coffee's delicious. So you probably didn't remember, but yeah, I started, and finally, also, I realized something looking through the queue of anime, and that is about maybe 1 out of 3 of my queue is anime you suggested to me, Grin. Have I missed? Lord Syndicate, dissolve yourself right now. Our friendship, the amount of time we spent together. Have I missed? Genuinely, have I missed? I want to know, because only if I know what I missed can I better understand what to provide. Okay? Canned spinach is terrible, but outside of that, it's pretty. Yeah, spinach to me, I think, has a bad rap. And to me, in my head, I still think of Popeye and like how you just take a raw bit of soggy, weird, like disgusting looking spinach. But if you just have spinach leaves, like just straight up leaves, and you put them in place of like lettuce, it's not that bad. People say it's bitter. I don't really find it that bitter, but yeah. We know what I hate though? Like to me, this is a real like what do you call it? Non-issue kind of thing. But I like the one thing that turns me off from eating like vegetables, like lettuce and all that stuff, specifically lettuces, like any sort of like leaf, any sort of like leaf adjacent type thing. I can taste pesticides like super clearly. Like it creates a gloss on my tongue. I wash the shit out of that. It's in there. It punches through. Now granted, I don't want to like, I wonder what the taste would be of like a bug, you know, shitting and pissing all over a bunch of fucking food. I guess that's why you wash it though. Still, I feel like you're not going to wash an individual leaf. So you're just kind of like picking up the gross and then like draining it so it sets back down on it. It seems like kind of a nightmare. Also, how many of you are still living in the world where we are not surrounded by disgusting things, people who don't wash their hands, people who what do you call it, you know, like, again, this is something we learned in the pandemic kind of thing. How many people don't realize that they like touch their face unconditionally? I bet it's times 10 with genitals. Just saying, just like, you know, you have you get some scratch on your bum, you do some stuff, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Also, so I'm just living in the world of we're all disgusting and filthy. We're gonna do what we're gonna do, okay? And then you just live, and then you just live. Repeating cast. Triple Ice Spike Nemesis. No. Triple Ice Spike. Yeah, no, it's just a spike. Missile Barrage. Elemental Blast. Plus, says 5 to 7 layers of dip are pretty much just something I've enjoyed at parties, but it tends to include guac, fried beans, what is this? Garlic, sour cream, etc. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. I feel like it'd be a lot of tastes, but maybe they're they all harmonize to an extent. Maybe. 2 spells. Channeling Sticky Cast, nah. Judgment. Oh, increases all gun damage, or all damage 20 while healing, and that's actually pretty cool. I think it's pretty rare actually. It increases gun damage as well as heals you. Or increases all damage while inside. I'm gonna take that one. I think there's better support spells that people have found, but still neat. Still very neat. Triple Ice Spike of Decay. Am I reading this right? Is it what I think it is? Oh no, it's just you just basically fill up a person with a bunch of spikes. Casting ice spikes in quick succession. Yeah, okay, so I thought that one was like, it sounded like it was what was it called? The one that like you shoot at like a fistful of ice and then like in a straight line. I thought it was like repeating cast of that, and I was like, I never seen that. I don't know if that can exist. Where is the one that we want? Not that one. I would have to have, like, yeah, this. Yeah, okay. I'd have to have marked that, right? Nope, wrong one. Fuck. Shit. I lost it. There it is. Steph says, I love pineapple very much. Sliced on hamburgers, it's great. Grill a little first. Yeah, I've never tried it on hamburgers. I bet that'd be a whole thing. I guess it kind of makes sense. I heard people say that you should, if like you ever have there's a Gouda video or something, where he basically took a steak, it's like a food channel, but he basically took a steak that was like really cheap, and he like soaked it in pineapple juice for a day, and then like rinsed it off, and then apparently because pineapple juice has a little bit of acidic stuff in it, I was able to break down the gross tendons that you find in like a bad piece of meat, essentially, like the joints and the like stringiness, and it made it so tender that you could actually cook it, and it was almost undescribable of like with the high quality quote unquote meat versus that. And I was like, that is such a good idea for my broke ass. Well, yeah, cannot wait to try that when push comes to shove, and push is gonna come to shove eventually. So yeah, but I thought it was neat. But yeah, interesting that on a burger, I could see that being good. I feel like you'd have to slice it real thin though. I mean, I guess ketchup is quite sweet, so I guess it makes sense that you'd also put something sweet on the burger. Now I feel like I need to try it. We have a surge of calamity. It's not has a long cooldown. Meteor slows as it falls nearby enemies. I want to use that one, but I feel like it's not good enough. Arc torrent. Ooh, Talon. Ice spike, Talon, more Talon stuff, barrage. Magic barrage is repeating cast, but there's only one charge. It's not looking great. Oh, magic barrage. Magic barrage is a lot of damage. Only it also comes back quite fast. Surge, 3 cast, repeating cast. Dancing Arc Torrents. Oh, that one's classic. Splattering Ice, 8 times that. Ooh! Oh no, Splintering Ice Spikes. I think I had this one before. It seems neat, but I don't think it's actually that good. Oh fuck, I need to equip it. I need to slap it on. I think it like goes in like it's when it says splintering, it basically means it opens up as it fires. Yeah, this one. So as we fire it, yeah, see, it has that fucking giant spread, which makes it just impossible for what it does, or it's supposed to do, I should say. Now we gotta find the other one again. I should just mark that one and that one alone, but you know, lazy. Where the hell? No, it wouldn't be at the bottom. This is not it, right? No. Ba. Through this. Nope. This. Got it. Jesus Christ. Let me catch up. I don't like pineapple, never have. Interesting. Avocado salted salsa, sorry, that I like to put on toast. Weird. Everyone has their kind of kink, or kink, I guess, which worked. Kind of food porn makes sense. Fluff says, however, I can tolerate it on certain dishes, including pizza, but it's too sweet. Yeah, I'm much more in the like pineapple pizza thing. People are like, it's a nightmare hell. I'm like, if it's there, you'll eat it. It's not that bad. If it's that bad, you need to relax. You need to figure yourself out. Fluff says also, Fluff said, and y'all are welcome to have all the pineapple. I'll eat them. Yeah, no, it's always a choice. One thing it says, okay, if I am being honest with you, you have not missed yet, Grin. Money! Boom! Because you're just like me, Lone City. Again, I'm just suggesting shows I know I would like. You have not missed yet, Grin. Every anime you have told me to watch has ended up like nice, solid. Which one was the least that you liked, though? Love says, that's why you wash and toast your salad, not the urban dish. I'm about to say that word is corrupted. But yeah, what do you call it? Even then, I still think it gets. I like no matter how much I wash, I can still taste the pesticides within it. I'm also eating like spinach. It's layered, so you gradually work your way down. Oh, I see. So you take at the top. So you're all, well, man, it sucks if you like avocado and you're like, this bitch is 3 layers deep. Come on, guys, get in there. I hate the other bits. Sounds like a good life hack. Shame, I really don't like pineapple. El Sidro. Well, that's the thing. I don't think it tasted it. Fluff. I don't think it, because what he did is he soaked it in pineapple and he let it consume the what do you call it, the tendons, and like the acid basically broke it down, and then he like washed the shit out of it, and then I think then it was ready to go. I think maybe there'd be like a residual sugar in the meat, maybe, but I don't think it's that. I think it's more juicy because yeah, you have so much innate fats and meat to taste in a steak and such that I don't think it would really impact it, maybe. But yeah, worth trying if you ever were in a place where you could. Lone Singlet says, trying to get through this quest to do this event is kind of a pain, especially since I already saw this quest on YouTube. Yeah, I was about to say, is it a Genshin thing? While you're like, I felt the exact same way when because that's what everyone always says, is like, oh, my arm, slid off my handle, or my arm brace thing. But that's what everyone always said about Genshin, including myself, which I was like, maybe if we experience Genshin as like, we come back to it whenever there's content at the very end of the week, and then we do it, and then we'll walk away, and then it'll be good. That's all. Then we'll just basically just do that on repeat. But I end up being like, when you're trying to actually do it, like, it's weird because the events are almost kind of made to be played like one at a time, slowly but surely, but also all at once. But none of them are perfectly optimized for either. So like, I find when I was going back to do like a lot of the shit that I needed to do quickly, it was all like, it felt like work. Like, instead of it being like, ooh, I have like three or four things to do, let me do them. It was fun. But the fact that you're like, oh, I have like fucking 17 things to do and I have a couple hours to do them. Okay, and then you're like, oh, I still have to do my dailies. You're like, man, I gotta do these events, I gotta do my dailies still. Oh, I still haven't done my city rips. It just gets to the point where like, yeah. I just thought it was me, but now that you're getting a little bit of that too, Lone Syndicate, unless it's something else, unless it's a different game, not Genshin. My mind just went to jump there. My mind might have jumped there, I meant to say. Probably do one more. Yeah, probably do one more. Fluff says, and all this talk about food has made me realize how hungry I am. Fluff, how do you feel about the feeling of hunger in yourself? Because for me, like, generally speaking, like, so if you were basically of all the tolerance that people have, some people have a tolerance for pain, some people have a tolerance for, what do you call it? People like, some people love confrontation, not love confrontation. Some people are good with confrontation, we'll say. There are also some people who love confrontation, but some people have various proclivities. How do you feel with the spectrum specifically of hunger pains? I mean specifically hunger pains. Not like right now where like I could eat something. I'm talking about like when it gets to the point where like my body's screaming at me to eat. I am curious. Is this a morbid question? I hope not. I didn't mean it to be. Steph says, cooking shows are the worst for making you hungry. Yeah, absolutely. Fucking Instagram's the same way. Although I do appreciate some Instagram stuff because it's like there's a certain level of skill development that they do where I'm like, that looks like too much. Like, that's too much work. I'd feel bad eating it because it's just like fucking multi-layered. And you're like, what is going on? Who is paying someone to do this for them? Is it madness? But yeah, I don't know. To me, when you see a cooking show, I also, Steph, do you watch those cooking shows? I'd imagine you do, since you brought it up. But what is it, if you could take a step back and analyze yourself, what is it about those shows that do it for you? Because I'm not very much in them. But granted, to me, I feel like cooking shows, I'm not sure if you guys agree, is very similar to like the kind of great background noise kind of stuff. Like, to me, I think it's like in the same category as like if you guys ever watch House Hunters. I'm sure if anyone goes to their parents' house, there's like House Hunters or something on the background. It's just kind of like non-entertainment. It's just kind of stimulation passively, you know? Steph says, I do. I need to come up with new things to feed the. Oh, that makes sense, Steph. That makes complete sense. Okay, that adds up. That made sense. That makes sense. That adds up. Because I was thinking, from my perspective, it's like there are people like, yes, I will try that. I guess there are people who are foodies who are like, or even just cooks who are like, I'm inspired by that. But I would think that the predominant amount of the food channels and YouTube channels, like consumer base, by my perception of it, it's like them doing crazy filming and shit. It seems like it's almost like a mixture of like utility information, but also satisfaction / what is it called? Like, yeah, satisfaction, like relaxation, dopamine hits. Like the kind of like almost in like an ASMR kind of type thing, except with no ASMR, just kind of that idea of there being certain like people cutting certain like what is it called, erasers perfectly thin, you know. Fluff says, honestly, it's a smart play on Holliver's to start announcing a new game since Genshin is declining. But they earned enough followers following with the Starline and ZZZ will appeal to those who want some similar yet a new aesthetic. Yeah. I think to me, though, that, I mean, it's going to be interesting because I think a lot of people are in my camp where they're like, it's a feeling of frustratedness, you know, and not a feeling of like, because Genshin's a great game. Like, that's the thing. I don't think anyone would be like, Genshin is actually atrocious. It's like, no, if anything, if you were to, like, take away all its hope and aspirations, it's a fun game. It's also free, so you can have a fun time, and it's free. Pretty good on surface level, but I think it's people's just sad with the potential being lost. And I think MiHoYo, and this is my feeling, has been, like, people still crave hope, regardless of what the outcome is, but I don't think people are stupid, necessarily, with their hope. So I could see their hope going towards another dev that's similar to maybe a what is it called, the Tower Fantasy, the other game, Withering Waves, or something like that. Granted, I also think that if they make a fun experience, like it's two parts correct, I think. Like, you know, like there's like the idea that if you build it, they will come if it's good. Like if you build something that's genuinely good, people will come. But I think people are also like, if it's just the same thing as Genshin, but like, yeah, like hey, there's 2 events now that can be done in 2 seconds, or are just basically very meaningless to a select few of the people if you've missed your turnaround for these events. I don't know. Yeah, because to me, I have that jadedness, but I know that as much as people complain about microtransactions, they're still making billions of dollars. So we're the minority, or they're just people who are content with paying for that, and you know we're not, but they are. So it's kind of like, shit. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see what happens. Again, I think if the game is good and it's fun, awesome. I can't help but feel like MiHoYo completely, for me, as what I would want from the game, which is very, you know, individualist to say, what they missed heavily. And it's a shame because I still think the game has immense potential. I still love it to bits, but to me, like whenever I think about the game, it makes me kind of frustrated, which is, I'd rather just like let go of it, you know. I'd rather just be like, this game's shit, the end, you know. But I can't, because it's not a bad game. It's just a game that to me is smothered by its own success, which is basically the idea of the company, I think, being like, it's so successful that if we did fuck it up, we'd be stupid and we would regret it. So, and maybe let's make these new games that we can test things and genuinely see if their people are correct about wanting an end game. And if that is the case, then awesome. I don't know if it is. Yeah, because they already had, what's it called? The what's the other game? The game that came out before MiHoYo, or before Genshin, which that game apparently has a lot better, or a lot more loved practices in it. But they could have used that one as a kind of like a template base model. And I tend to think that Genshin is at a point where it's so big that it's being run by, it seems like, a lot of what is it called? What is it called when people are like executives, essentially? That's what I'm saying. Not to say that like there's no one who's creative, because there's absolutely people making a great story. Like we're not shitting on Genshin entirely. It's just that the route in which I think a lot of people hope for it to go Yeah, if MiHoYo came out and said like Star Rail or AAA or ZZZ, that's what it's called, was gonna have like all of the bells and whistles, I'd be over the moon. Like it was gonna have like end game content. That would be the glutton's dream essentially. If you did like Genshin and kind of combat and you wanted more of it, that is a way that we could do it that would make sense. Sure. A part of me would feel bad, not bad. I guess I shouldn't feel bad. I guess that's where I gotta check myself, because I think that's probably wrong. That I would feel like I don't want to support MiHoYo because maybe the game Genshin was never that game for them. But I would have loved if they would have come out and expressed that completely. Like, just to been like, hey, there's a consistent theme going on with our community. But that's just also just game development in general, it seems like. There's no communication anywhere, like, ever. So maybe that's just the future that we have to kind of accept. But yeah. Lone Secret says, Lone Secret says, Grin, to answer that question, I would have to really scroll and look at every anime to find which one I would like the least, but to give a general answer, I have never liked any of them, but I will say some shows I have finished faster than others, if that helps. Oh yeah, that makes sense, Lone Secret says, I own a cookbook and I have made some of the recipes from it. Yeah, see, that to me is nice. But to me, man, I guess it's two-part. For me, I have like, what do you call it? I was recently asked, what would you do to like unwind, and what would you do to have like a fun time? And my idea was like, I don't know, I guess if I wasn't trying to like get better at this, I would just I'd go on a hike, I guess. And they're like, you're gonna eat by bears, and I'm like, yeah, probably. I'd like to go on a hike and I'd like to see something, kind of get out of this loop I'm in. That would be something where I'd decompress. And then the other thing was to go to a class at our college and take like a cooking class in our college. But I'm also wondering, like, that's where I would go when it comes to making cooking. But I also wonder if you got to a point where like the class kind of gave you enough of a baseline to manage, that's when you'd be like, okay, now let me actually have fun and make something that's unique that I can impress people with and that makes them happy. That's the other thing when feeding people. It's like you're genuinely, I think there's something innate in all of us when it comes to, like, it seems weird, but like feeding somebody. I think in a large way that comes from our, the same thing as like giving somebody a gift. Like, I think largely that comes from the fact that maybe when you were like tribal or whatnot, that it mattered that you brought back something to another person, to your tribe. You brought back a kill or something, not to get too morbid, but yeah, or if you know, the person crafted a meal for you that was delicious, that was important. And that meant you got to survive. So I think there's this innate feeling that like the rewards our brain chemistry by like, we got to survive another day, and maybe there's some sort of tinge that exists within that for us when it comes to the pleasantness of people getting from feeding another. I definitely like trying new things. Also have comfort foods like sushi. Stock up ingredients and make that someday. Yeah. How do you do that on occasion already, right? That was not the first time you'd make sushi? Yeah. I thought you made the what do you call it? The rice ball kind of thing, the rice tube. Stephanie says, utility was good when I was working on cooking skills. Now I look for ideas. Yes, that makes more sense. That's exactly what I was thinking. I didn't see that comment before I said that. That makes complete sense. Lone Syndicate says, also Grin, I was referring to Genshin when I was talking about the... Okay, yeah, I was just double checking. My chest! And Genshin has needed a competition for a long time. It's got a complacent because there's no... I know, which is... That to me is that's a great way to put it too, Fluff. That to me was my other fear. Is it like when people are like, yeah, but there's ZZZZ and like the other, I'm like, these are all made by MiHoYo. This is not what competition is. This is what market domination looks like. Okay. And I'm like, goddamn. And the fucked up thing is I genuinely want to know what's gonna happen with the games that are similar to Genshin. Cause like I don't know. Just with like again, it was like it's like a meme, but like at the beginning of Genshin, it was like, this is a Zelda ripoff, and like it took from so many games. But I wonder if now that Genshin has succeeded to the extent in which they have, are they maybe possibly going to have like a problem with certain game developers making a similar game, like infringing on their copyright to kind of like maintain their domination of the market? I don't know. I have noticed that. Yeah, like, I wonder if that was maybe the reasoning why certain games don't have the same, like, swapping to multiple characters kind of idea. Granted, a lot of them do. Withering Waves has it, and I think But I wonder if that's why Tower of Fantasy maybe didn't. But maybe they have a brand new like weapon system where you can like pivot around with different weapon types. That'd be neat. But I do think that like again, Tower of Fantasy. Well, maybe Tower of Fantasy is more complex than I'm giving credit for. I don't think Tower of Fantasy is meant to be played as a mobile game. I think it is kind of meant to be played as like an MMO computer game that can also be maybe played as a mobile game. But I don't know. I don't know if it actually can be or not. I feel that as a feeling. That's gonna happen. So that says, like other games. Or platforms in a pseudo monopoly. Yeah. We need that competition. Which is also why I was so like to me I was very hopeful for Tower of Fantasy when I seen a video breaking down like its mechanics, its wishing system, and stuff like that. But I'm also kind of like, is this a symptom of like needing to compete and therefore needing to make a concession in order to get others' attention? Like if they were in the same position, would they do the same thing as Genshin, which is like, don't fix what's not broken. Just let this train keep pushing out money until it breaks, and then we'll change then. And yeah, maybe. But that also maybe makes sense why certain aspects of Tower of Fantasy seems a little bit more player friendly. Fluff says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if you don't have to alter it, why innovate? Yeah, no, that makes sense. It makes sense as much as it's sad. My whole thing is, it sounds fucked up, but I'm kind of like, break faster. Break fucking quickly. But also, I'm happy that people are enjoying the game as well. I don't mean to be too much of a downer, but yeah. I thought you were supposed to be like in prison reforming yourself, Dragon Guy. I don't know. Seems like a douche still. Fluff says, Honkai Impact? And that's what it seems like ZZZ will be following an example while Star Rail will be more like Genshin in Honkai Soft. Yeah, that makes sense. Also makes sense they're not cannibalizing their viewers. Honestly, as much as I shit on the whole like thing, I do think it makes sense. Like that's the thing that makes it kind of frustrating is that like Genshin is betting on the horse that I can understand but I despise. I'm like, oh great. I shouldn't say I despise. To me, again, it's not like a confirmation that we're going to get the game that I think is able to monopolize on all of its potential, But maybe. But again, like to me, when you describe it like that, Fluff, that also makes sense in my head of like, oh, okay, yeah, they wanted to maybe make a game where they could test stuff, but also not cannibalize Genshin's popularity, aka doing another fantasy kind of game, So that makes sense. Where they're trying to like see if like, wait, can we dominate the market even more? But also I think the games need to come up faster because right now I think Genshin is in like a seemingly exceedingly dwindling state, which could just be my perception, but I feel like that's the case. My feelings could be way off though, and who knows? Maybe the new game's gonna pop off and it's just gonna immediately hit the ground running with the amount of budget that Genshin has, or sorry, MiHoYoverse has. I feel like it would be hard pressed for them not to like pay with a bunch of sponsorships and shit like that. So yeah. Also, I think a lot of content creators would look at like like MiHoYo approaching a bunch of the Genshin people and being like, "Hey, would you like to work with us, etc." And I think a lot of content creators would be like, "I said a lot of dark, like shitty things about them, and I should try to build back this bridge." Meanwhile, they're like what? Like we're just using you to be like a billboard. Like what? Like yeah, like and that was pretty present also when it comes to Genshin. Like I noticed that they started like they commissioned game theory for a video, which was very fun. I like the lore idea, all that stuff. But I did notice that they never really seemed to incentivize content creators that were continuing to upload their game. Granted, there are like ads, which I think are probably within the Genshin video content space. But also I think MiHoYo spent all of the I forgot we got roguelike. I think MiHoYo spent a lot of their money on acquisition of brand new eyes. So like instead of putting ads in the Genshin community, they would put ads into like the vlog space or like the anime community, got that kind of thing, adjacent stuff. Fluff says, Honkai. Alright, is he complaining? I just wonder if it's mostly the pandemic. Oh my god, no! What the fuck? Oh god damn, we need to be careful now. I was wondering if it's a pandemic that provided the sheer success of Genshin rather than soften its own metric. That's a good question. That's a good question. I think it probably was, I would say 30% pandemic. That would be my guess. But I do think there's nothing that's quite similar to Genshin the way that it did a lot of the things that it did. You know what I mean? Like a third-person game that it's constantly updating. It has like multiple different character types. It kind of fed at least at its conception. Genshin was one of those games where you could backtrack and like map out exactly how it was successful and why it was successful, with its complexity, like aiding, guide videos, and those guide videos having that, and then also there being this introduction to gacha in a way that seemed less predatory, and in some ways more predatory, given you're not used to it, and things like that. But yeah, I do think Genshin, like I can't think of a game that's similar to Genshin outside of its kind of general comparisons, like Zelda, but nothing that like weaponized the kind of like build creation, characters, and stuff like that. So I do think Genshin deserves some props in that regard. But yeah, like in the way that, like, yes, it might be like kind of stolen from 16 different things, but I think in the way that it pieced it together did do something that people hadn't experienced before. Now again, I think that just there's no doubt that everybody was online during the pandemic, and like everything sailed who was doing anything online soared. So yeah, that is also true. That is also real. Don't go into the ground yet. There we go. Yeah, it was weird. He should have taken a giant chunk of damage there. I guess he was already dead, or just slowly dwindling. I don't know. If so, it makes the new games a safe bet to spread out their revenue streams, so they maintain steady profit as we gradually recover, having less time / money to invest into Genshin alone. Yeah, it also makes sense from just like a point of view of a person who's like spending stuff. Like again, I think there is something corrosive about the idea that, am I really coming up spending 5K on Genshin? I haven't done that. I'm just saying this is some people's perception of like, I've spent 5K in this video game. That's excessive. But if it's a brand new video game where you have no monetary sink in and you've invested a lot of time in already, then you could get more nudged about like, oh, well, this is like a fresh breeding ground. Like I don't have anything. This game has not taken that much from me. I'll only do a little bit, and of course that's how it starts. But yeah, I could see that like the brand new game also incentivizing a brand new jump into that, What's good, Akala? Akala says, bro, I need a save file level 10 of Graveborn. You can help me, please. No, I can't, man. I don't know how to, I don't have a level 10 at Graveborn, unfortunately. I have like a maxed out level torrent with a bunch of gear build. That there's that, but I can't give you the save file. Yeah, no, I don't have a save file for it, unfortunately. I would only be able to drop you the gear, but yes. But I think if you just jump around in a lot of save files, you should be able to find one. But unfortunately, I don't have it, my friend. The lowest you have? I don't think I have any low ones, my friend. I only have my original and then every other like base save file that I've found. But yeah, no, I have none of that. Are you trying to also be careful if you're trying to farm vending machines for a low version of an item? Some of the items don't drop at level 10, but level like 15 and 20, which is a little odd. But yeah. Fluff says that's oddly specific. Why? I think it may be because Graveborn specific. Yeah, I don't know why the Graveborn. Lone Syndicate says all the save files are max. Yeah. Steph says I saw someone spend almost 100K. Yeah, no, that's the fucked up thing, Steph, is that's like, sometimes that's the base level for playing in a kind of weird gacha kind of game. I think there's one of the games I heard a story about where like 100K, 500K I think was what it was. 500K was the minimum requirement for whales in a certain region. Like you wouldn't even be considered to be a whale if you didn't breach that amount, which is insane. Yeah. I can't even like comprehend. You know what I mean? Like you could do a lot with that. You could like put that into some investing, and you could like have a soft life cushion for like consistent money, an extra $2,000 every month or something. Akela says, you are just OP. What do you mean? Fluff says, it doesn't take that long to level up that much. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you can just grind that up pretty easily. Yeah. Stephanie says, whoa. Yeah, it's brutal. People be crazy. People be madness. I don't even think that's the max, by the way. That's the minimum. I think max is probably well beyond a couple $1 million. But also, I don't know. To me, it makes more sense if you're like you inherited a fortune essentially, and you're like, like to me I find it equally in a lot of ways cringe when I see like flexing online, you know what I mean? Granted, at least that's material. That's like that the value of that item is at least somewhere adjacently worth its like physical commodity, I guess. Sometimes there's degradation, but usually not. But I don't know. To me, I could see that there are people being like, yeah, but I don't want a $1 million car, and my parents didn't raise me, but they were wealthy as hell and they passed away, and now I have that. I kind of like video games, and I would rather spend it on that, and I'm kind of like, see, that makes more sense to me. As far as people who like work every day of their life to spend money into this game, that to me is, I don't want to judge, but that to me is, there might be something meaning-wise in an individual's life that might be missing. Might be. I don't know anything about anything, but it's a little wild. Lonzica says, I remember I saw a video of this dude who spent, I think, $75K on fake Grand Order, and I was like, wow. Yeah, man. To me, yeah. It's funny because I think it's rare. Like, we have a person in our community called Raja, who's lovely. But we talked about this once on stream because she basically like maxed out every single character in Genshin that she wanted. And I eventually asked, and I was like, what's happening? Are you like a Persian prince? And she's like, no, I just inherited a lot of money from my parents or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, yeah, like to me this is what I like, you know. And I was like, okay, that makes way more sense, you know. But like, yeah, if you hadn't like that to me is, let me ask you this, Steph. If you had overnight, let's say 30 mil, just boom, like you're immediately in this, let's say whatever that is relative to a significantly huge amount of money. What would be the things that you would buy? I think the first thing that most people come to mind is like, oh, I would get a house that's nice, you know, and probably a lot of land. If you don't want a huge ass house, you get a lot of land just to like get people the fuck away from me. And the second thing people go with is, especially if you have a family, you're like, oh, I would maybe get a family car. I'd maybe get a nice car. I maybe would get like, what do you call it? Just maybe better, like whatever you'd want. Maybe a couch, maybe a TV. Like these are the things that kind of come to your mind at first. You mean Elk Nola Roger? Yeah, Roger. Yeah. I know. I say it's Raja. I see a pink name. It says anything Raja. That's her. I'm like, bang. Oh, it's he. Oh, I thought it was she. Okay, my bad. Sorry. Forgive me. I thought Raja was she. That's my bad. It's he. He C6 a lot of characters and get. Okay, yeah. So maybe that's the wrong person I'm thinking about, or maybe Raja is a. Yeah, I misunderstood the gender thing. Forgive me. But yeah, to me, I think that's the first thing that people go to is like the house and all that stuff. But what happens after that? Have you ever put yourself like way in the future? If you're like, after you got the house, after you got this, I feel like you would very quickly feel after the house, after the car, maybe after this, that you'd be like, okay, well, like it's not hitting in the way that I thought it would, you know? And not to say that wealth is not important, or that like wealth can't open up access to like a vacation that you could take your family on and experience something wonderful, or eat amazing food every now and again. Like that's totally a reality that money can give you. But I do feel like you'd get to a point where you're like, this is far too much money to do anything with, you know what I mean? Especially when you get to that extent, to where I could see people being like, well, what do I actually enjoy in my life? What brings me happiness? This game. Okay, I do think, to me, in my head, sorry, Steph, I do wonder, because in my head I do have a line, or like I would, even if I had all the money in the world, I still think I'd have a minimum where I'd be like, this is too much. This is too much. Fluff says, it may be further ahead, so you wouldn't really have the benefits you're hoping for. Yeah. Steph says, gotcha. Gotcha flexing. Oh, yeah. It seems so pointless. Oh, I'm at the top of the leaderboards in the game. Well, I don't even think it's that, Steph. I think it's more of a, like I like the design of this character, and I want to feel powerful, and I have access. It's almost like if you had the ability to eat, like if you had the bare minimum amount of money and all you could afford was apples. That's it. Maybe they're cheap, whatever the reason is. So you ate apples, only apples for like years. But then you started gaining a significant amount of income that would allow you to consistently have steak. That's not to say that you would never have apples, but it's to say that maybe now that you have access to this new lever, like point of differency, that you would pursue it because you can without any there being a cost to your living situation. So I think that's what it is, because I do think, and that's something that I think everyone has echoed, and it's a weird human thing, but when you start making more money, you passively start to also consider, like, spend more. It's weird. It's like when you have nothing, you'll spend nothing, and when you have some, you have a massive tendency to spend when you are in a place of that. I also think there's something to be said for, like, your situation. So I think if you have a family, if you have a house payment that's not paid off, that can fuck up stuff. But even that, I think, people get like pushed in this weird way still. Near says, also what's good, Near says, oh right, but the Kench thing with Raja, Steph says, buy an island so everyone leaves me alone. I thought you said you had a family, Steph. Was your family involved in that? What's it says, this dude was like, I work and I use most of my money on this game. I'm just saying to myself, I like games too. And I throw some money at them too, but that much and only one game, I don't think I could do. Yeah, that to me is a good indication of obsession. Now, granted, the thing that to me is kind of like, there's a baseline human sorrow in that, I think, also, which is kind of pretty hard. But it's the idea that, like, sometimes, like, what these games are meant to do is make you feel successful and make you feel rewarded by achieving something. And then they're meant to play on those human desires. So when someone's really down the rabbit hole that deep, to me, it kind of is also a signal in some ways. Some ways it's completely healthy in a weird way if they have an exorbitant amount of wealth and go buck wild. But a lot of times I don't think it is. I think a lot of times it's like a signal that something's wrong here. This person is getting almost all of their self-validation, so that the suffering that they experience at work and the meaninglessness of their life, they can feel accomplished and achieving in this one facet, therefore enabling them to spend almost all of their income that they make that month on a game that gives them that reward, because they're not getting it from anywhere else, which to me is understandable yet very, very sad. I don't mean sad as like me looking down on people. I mean I don't know. I also don't know the right answer to that. I think the easiest answer is like, oh well, pick up yourself by the bootstraps and go find meaning in your life. But that's pretty difficult, especially if you're in an environment such as like Japan and whatnot, and China and Asia, where it seems like there's a culture of work is meaning. And what happens if your work is filling you with zero meaning? Well, then you'll find another avenue to fill yourself with meaning, which is rough. Oh, bada boom. That's the one I'm kind of looking for, because that one looks like shit. Where is it? Gluttony, no. I'll pick up a lot of shit, I guess, just to see. Give me all the gold threads. Also, I don't know what the fuck happened last time we raided someone. I'm a little peeved. I deleted all of our clips. Like, all of them. They're gone. Except for the one that's like me doing that workout feat that I thought was neat. I'm not trying to let people see that, by the way. I just didn't want to delete it because I actually edited that, and I was like, that's a lot of effort gone down the drain. But yes. But then we raided somebody yesterday, and I couldn't handle it, dude. As soon as it started playing, I just exited. I couldn't watch a person with a group of people react to my very old, younger self, playing Let It Die, being like, hey, what's good? Just fucking hate me. Anyways. So I just said no, and I walked away. But I was like, what the heck happened? I deleted all the things. Why did that happen? I'm not embarrassed by who I was. I just would rather people judge me now. Okay. It's sort of like a people. It's sort of like that flex their expensive gun skills. gun skins. It's like, great, you spent a lot of money in the game, you prove you're actually capable with them. Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I think at least in my head, Fluff, when how do I put it? When I see a person, like, I think that's why gotcha or like gambling makes sense, because it is like, you won. You just surprisingly won. So it's never just that you buy a skin, usually. It's that you attained the skin that others have devoted thousands to, but you happen to get early. Or maybe you didn't, but maybe you're one of the people who got lucky. And I think that everyone likes, that's one of the things that to me bothers me about a lot of like the conversations and about like this race of people, this marginalized group or whatever. But it's the disregard for humans' horribleness and also wonder. But like, everyone in this world wants an advantage. Like, everyone. I haven't met one person, unless you're like fucking deep into the Buddhist rabbit hole, in which you're just completely content with your life and you want not of the world. You're completely content with what you have, which is beautiful, but certainly not easy to get there, I don't think. But I think there's so much disregard for everyone who wants an advantage. Everyone wants to be lucky. There's a reason why isekai animes and TV shows about superheroes do so well. It's because everybody innately wants to feel special, wants to feel important, and wants to feel like they've got an advantage. They feel lucky. They feel any of those things. These are, I think, human innate emotions. And I dislike when people try to make it so that this is only being felt or only being given to this one person, this one group, this one ideology, this one whatever. This is a human thing, you know what I mean? So for me, I think that everyone in these what games kind of weaponize against you to some extent is want you to feel lucky. They want you to feel like you've invested time into something and it has yielded something of value back to you. Hence why we're playing a looter shooter game, you know? Now, I don't think that's toxic unless you make it toxic. You know, I think I'm a big believer. I don't think many things are innately evil. I think they're all just tools in which you can interface with, you know? And all can potentially have a use, even though maybe their use is quite morbid, but even in that morbidity could be, could save you, could save lives, etc., which is a complicated nightmare hell issue, but yeah. Lonsika says, do we spend money? Fluff says, if anything, I'm glad I like some of the skins with the little to no extra bells and whistles, because my teammates and opponents turn their noses up at it, whilst I simply get to enjoy a cool-looking gun that didn't break my bank. Yeah, man, that's also the other thing. It's like if the more you grow older, I feel like you start to get this thing in your head. And maybe for some of you guys who are younger have this. I think it's something that gets, and maybe you're feeling it trickle into you right now as you're getting older in years, maybe. But it was definitely something that from my own perspective, that's why I'm saying this, I didn't have. But I feel like the more you get older, the more, when you're like getting kind of ostracized by the tribe, so to speak, or like some people are kind of like pointing out you as being odd or you not complying, there's a feeling in your head that says, instead of like, oh, I guess I should do what everyone else is doing, there's a feeling of like, I don't like what you're doing. Like, you finally are like, you know what, fuck you. I'm not being I'm not going to live my life to be happy, your version of happy. I'm going to live my life because I like what I like, and if you don't like it, then walk the fuck away. But I'm not going to live for you. I have to look at myself in the mirror, and I have to live my own life. So get the hell away from me. And I definitely think in my younger years, I didn't feel that as much as I do now. Of like this feeling of like, what am I doing? Fuck you. Like, leave me alone. You know what I mean? That feeling. And then eventually I think this is what Fluff's talking about, is it turns into like a satisfaction because you're standing by your own ideals and likes. So you're not conforming, but you're doing it for the right reason. You're not just resisting to be a dickhead and being a hipster, contradicted person. I think that's also the other barometer of it, is when people are like saying something is shitty because it's popular. That's the bad idea. But saying something is that you don't like something, or that you're not in with something that is popular because it's just not for you, and then you fully holding up the things that you do love and things that you do find interesting. That, I think, is when you get to a place in your life where you're like, I'm happy because I'm happy. I'm not happy because you are happy that I'm happy because I'm conforming, but I'm happy because I like what I like, and I'm happy with that. I can go to sleep tonight knowing that I did right by me. And that has to be enough, I think. I think there's a lot of people in this world that I think they govern their happiness by other people and what they think of them. Steph says, lol, I hope the family would come. Okay, so gotcha. Good, solid.
Fluff says, or a small sense of pride I feel when I enjoy my time with Genshin, yet never spent a cent on it, and don't feel like I was at a loss after a hype of the game and the characters has died. Yeah, no, I definitely think that's true too. I definitely don't feel like I regret spending the money on Genshin, because I do feel like I spent an abnormal amount of time playing it. So I was like, okay, yeah, I think I spent 2 or 3 games worth on that game, and I played it for an entire year. Makes sense to me in my head, you know. I regret there are games that you could have a better deal with that, like some people are still playing Counter-Strike, you know. Fluff says, not that putting money into a game is inherently a loss, but I just wonder how much satisfaction these whales actually feel after they move on to the next game. Yeah, I also feel like it's also a symptom of your need. So I also feel like, again, like some people know that they don't really need a lot, you know, like they just need the bare minimum. They know, and then they're like, hey, so then I'm going to invest in everything else I have. Also, I think, again, to me, the other thing comes to mind, Fluff, is that I think if you did have an exorbitant amount of money, you could rationalize spending a net amount more than normal. Or if you had your house paid off, if you had so much stability that you're like, yeah, I could burn this and it wouldn't destroy me, you know. And there are some people who get way more fulfillment out of playing a games per se than having like a big ass house. Maybe they have a normal house and they have a girlfriend, they have no interest in having kids, and they're like, why not? Like, what else are we gonna spend this money on? We don't really people who go on trips, so we already have money stored away for a rainy day. Why don't I use what I made this month to put in here? Like, I think there's ways to like actually make a genuine point for, well, this is something that I'd rather spend my money on, and actually it makes sense. But I also think the line of that is very, mucky, because I think it can turn really fast. I think Twitch keeps an archive even if you delete them. Great! I guess it kind of makes sense for not like losing shit. We need to make a fresh clip. I was gonna say do it right now, but no, stop. Stop. I don't have anything to say. It's gonna be cringe. We're in a random game. I look sweaty. Fluff says, to be fair, she holds no judgment for the clip. She said it tends to pull the oldest stuff out for her as well. Oh, really? Well, she seems really sweet. I'm happy that Steph also popped in. Fluff was there. Lone Ticket popped in. I always appreciate people who go the mile to be like, I hope you're having a great stream. It always makes my heart warm. Fluff says, I just had a handful of times where another player will keep asking for my gun skin or another teammate skin, only to die with it a round after round, which simply because determines to the team just because they are obsessed with having a skin they didn't own directly. Weird, okay. Odd. Lunsigan says, speaking of skins in Genshin, next patch there is going to be a 5-star deluxe skin, and leak prices is going to be $30 to $35. Is it getting more money? Is this one at least a legendary, so it has effects? Woof. $40 almost for a skin. Probably $40 Canadian, dude. What a nightmare. But neat. Oh, but this, yeah, you said a 5-star. Yeah, sorry, you have 5-star deluxe skin. Is it animated or some shit, Lone City? For $40 fucking dollars, that better completely rework every look of every animation, everything, man. It's a common thing where people become more conservative, not specifically meaning the political sense, as they get older, realizing they like what they like and don't need validation to others to feel good about it. To me, I think, I would always be cautious with using the word conservative or even liberal or even social justice warrior or whatever you use, because I think words are tainted very easily in this social media Twitter hellscape. But I would always put that I would just do it, so the tail end of that. I would just do the tail end of what Fluff said. Supporting what you enjoy is a good thing, but seeking validation for it is not a healthy mindset. Validation, I think that's probably a good way to govern your balance of it, is if you ever feel like you're doing it for others, then that probably means that you're not actually perceiving it as valuable. It's the effect that it can give to others, which also some people do. Some people wear like I never got most of that, but some people wear like a high designer shirt and for like credit, or some people, if you think about like the actual value of like a fucking supercar, it's not really in its construction, it's in its like identity, that's where I'm utilizing that surveying money for smaller games, or savoring game money for smaller games purchases or full games even. It's hardly enough to afford necessity. That's true. It says yes, it will have different effects in changing its burst and skill, I believe. Okay, that's cool. I still don't think it's worth $40 or $30, but neat, very neat. For people who are, I don't know, man. I just don't think skins are what we need, man. The characters all look great. Like, fuck. Yeah, it's like again, it's like the Netflix like idea of like, hey, people are not like liking our content or subscribing to us. Let's stop sharing our fucking website. Yeah. They're like, what? It's like, hey, people are leaving our games in a mass exodus. Why? Must be because they're not satisfied with the skins and the look of characters. Like, unless they're going to rework Diluc, he's still a really odd DPS that requires a lot of specific gear to kind of make at least somewhat good as the other characters in A tier. You know? Anyways. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a video out right now. Not right now. Oh, we're going to raid. Wait, is there anyone to raid? Does anyone have a person that we could go raid? Damn Buns. Damn Buns. She raided us. I don't think Buns like usually streams at the same time I do, which is unfortunate. I am following her, I believe, so I should see her when I put up the raid thing. If I don't, then fucking goddamn it. Let me just check real quick. If we scroll up all the way to the top, see Buns. Click, and then this. Do not play the archive stream. Stop. Panic. I hate that fucking Twitch autoplays and shit. I am following Buns. Good. Go team. Had to double check. Yeah, I have no one who I am currently, who I can currently raid, my friends. Is it just gonna be one of those awkward streams where we just wind down? Nope, Fluff's giving us a suggestion. I have no one who I follow, who on the stream, gotcha. Nope, don't do that, do this, raid, let's see. We have this person. Oh, cute. Cute. It's like it's got big ass goggles on. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it. That was rude. I apologize. Oh, God. I'm bad with people. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Hope you guys do enjoy the rest of your night. At some point, who knows when? Yes. What do you call it? We will. There's a video coming out on the Share a Grin channel. It's a part 2 to our kind of love fest about God of High School. Enjoy it if you want. It's kind of more video for people who are interested in the show later down the line who want to Google it. Anywho, enjoy the rest of your night, my friends. The video is on the way. Please go tell this person that they're nothing but lovely because they seem great, and also our boy Fluff vouched for them, and he's fucking 0 for 0 at this point. What? No, he never missed. That's why I guess put it. Also, thanks so much to Zombie Steph. Thanks so much to Zombie Lone Singing Fluff. Everybody, appreciate all you guys so much. Please go tell this person some lovely things. Thank you kindly, and goodbye.